Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy podcast, and we are back. Happy Easter! Happy
We bike.
Easter! We bike. Happy Easter to y'all out there. It is April 9th.
Ninth.
I has risen. Um, and I'm Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine, joined by EJ, the Sophisticated Savage. Um, Two-man game right now. VP is a no call, no show at the moment. All the smoke that he be giving to EJ for no call, no showing, I think it's just due that he receives some smoke himself. But he thinks that his ADA accommodation is enough for him to be able to pull this kind of stuff off. Still got responsibilities, bro. Um, what's up, man? It's Easter, Easter. Um, what's going on, man? First of all, you still in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's cool over here. About 70s. I know it's not cold, but it's been in the 90s, so this 75 and breezy feels real, real good.
It's cold here. It was 40s, I think last couple of days,
Mm.
feeling like 30-ish wind chill wise. And it's like 50 now and it's cool. It's a nice day to get twisted early and, wake up later. God willing.
Mm. What you got on the agenda for drinkage today?
Well, I haven't made any of those plans, but I gotta definitely feed the kids and look after the parent unit. But hopefully, in some space and place, I can do something. I know I
With
might
some
work out
bunnies?
today. No, I know I can. I'm hoping to work out today at some point. Trying to get back to that. You know what I mean?
Chilling with your peeps?
Yeah. I wanna try to maybe get a run or something, and at least some push-ups. I'm gonna definitely do some push-ups or something because what I realize. Us being traditional '80s men, right? We take pride in taking care of everyone else and making sure everyone else's agenda is fine and going the extra mile to do the things that people don't ask you to do. You know what I mean? Um, Making sure this is straight, making sure that is straight.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not selfish mostly. Like we have our selfish ways and things, but I feel like recently I need to be more selfish in making sure I do the things I want to do, how I want to do them, when I
You
want to
do.
do them. You know?
You do. You do. You're absolutely right, man. It's a generational thing. I think it's by decades. The 70s is the year of the irresponsible individuals. Like motherfuckers in the 70s were any siblings that people have from our time frame in the 80s that were born in the 70s generally were irresponsible because they were, that's when, gang culture came out pretty heavy, right? Like Latin Kings and stuff like that. I mean, being more relevant, not so much just being there, but being relevant and open and, selling a lot more drugs and stuff like that. So, um, and doing drugs, right?
Hmm.
They're fucked up. Like those, like I look at a lot of my friends that are my age and that were born 80s ish, somewhere in that 80 to 87 area, and they have
Hmm.
older siblings, and their older siblings are generally the irresponsible ones, or the ones who they're still kind of getting right from all the mistakes and decisions they made back then, selling
Yeah.
drugs, doing drugs, more so than just like smoking weed. And then you got the 80s, which is where we got a little bit more responsible, and that's when Dare came out, and they were trying to keep us out of that, and people started to get into sports and athletics and stuff like that, so we became
Hmm.
the more responsible individuals. And then kind of trickled a little bit into the 90s, and then the 90s started to kind of pan off in 2000s, and they became the ones who were starting to be irresponsible as well, but it was because of access, right? The internet gave them access at early ages, early on, to a lot of stuff. So that sweet spot is, 80s babies generally are the ones who are a little more responsible. And to your point, don't always think of themselves first, always thinking of everyone else and making sure everyone else is good. And it is absolutely important that we are selfish, because a lot of people put stuff off until tomorrow or next week, and they'd be like, I'll go there tomorrow, or I'll hit homie up next week, or we could go play golf next week, or whatever. We could go get a drink next week, and then next week don't come for one. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
definitely be more responsible. Which, or next week comes and you ain't feeling well, and then it turns into being something more than just a headache or something. Like, it turns into being something where now you got to get treatment or whatever. So yeah, take time for yourself, man. Self-care is important. Be selfish with your time, EJ. I need to do the same, and be unapologetic about it. Fuck them if they don't like it.
And going back to what you said about that 80s time, we are that generation where we're just old enough to know better, and we're just young enough to get what's going on today. And if you think about it, we are the generation that was largely unguided, largely, on our own, fending for ourselves kind of thing. Like, college was for many of us first idea. Military, you know, that was, it's just a lot of things that we got on our own. And with that generation in between, like you said, we just figure it out, and it's tough.
I like to tell people I'm a product of the Clinton era, and people that come from that era are different. We're absolutely different, man. We just, like, if you're with a sweet spot in that, Bill Clinton was irresponsibly responsible. You know what I'm saying? Like, he made some personal irresponsible decisions, but he was extremely responsible when it came to the people. And that's the same thing I feel like, we are people that are product of that era personally. That's kind of how I define it. But what up, VP? Welcome to the
Going on?
show. You about 40, 50 minutes late. We started about, not like you can't see the timer. We was just talking about Easter Sunday, and being more available to yourself, and owing yourself some personal time, some free time.
Yeah, man. It's Easter. Happy Easter. Me personally, I woke up and gave thanks to my personal Lord and Savior. Author of my life. You know,
Did your egg hunt?
no, I didn't do that. I don't believe in fairy tales now.
This guy, this guy,
I
this
mean,
guy. What an asshole.
let's not take it too far.
Listen, man.
Listen, he still found out a way to be true black person on Easter Sunday and be super late
Yeah, of course.
to the altar, to the pulpit.
Yeah, man.
East
But
her.
yeah,
But nah,
man.
if you're somebody who celebrates Easter or whatever, more power to you. I don't get down with it.
Yeah,
You
people
know,
are their Sundays best. Like, again, I think we also come from a
Steve's
time.
on a Sunday best right now.
I don't got
Got the
Sundays
lavender
best.
shirt on.
It's a polo shirt. That's all. Nothing
Got the
crazy.
lavender shirt on, the white crispy white hat. This is what he would wear
I'm
to
representing the
Easter
brand. I'm
Sunday.
a brand spokesman. I'm a brand spokesman.
Can't even see
Cass,
it.
you can't even see it.
now you can. Castworthy
Okay.
podcast, baby. I'm a brand
Listen,
spokesman.
this is
So
exactly what Steve would wear in Connecticut.
one of us represents, the
I
pod a little
wear
bit.
I wear the Castworthy Pod beanie the Scully
I do
cap
be seeing you
everywhere
with it. I do be seeing you with it.
all
No
the
doubt.
time, buddy.
But yeah, you think about back in the day, at least for us up north. I don't know how it was in Miami. I'm sure it was similar. Y'all was probably on the beach, or people was sniffing coke on Easter Sunday. But up there, like, we was it was Easter Sunday was church. Sunday's best. You get you a nice hat, nice suit, like and everybody kind of got up into the church and did their thing.
It's a very wide spectrum. You either were on the beach or sniffing coke.
It's Miami, right?
It's a lot in between.
And my yayo.
God damn.
And my yayo. Yo, not to jump into things real fast, but speaking of Miami, I gotta do this. UFC 287 maybe was last night in Miami. And
Was it
first
27?
it might be 287. I can't remember. But first and foremost, shout out to Israel Adesanya for coming back and basically getting his title back in great form. But
Knock somebody
Jorge,
out, right?
yeah, he knocked dude out. That shit was pretty lit. But Jorge Masvidal, who was a Miami native, backyard fighter, came up under Kimbo Slice, got his fame, got into mixed martial arts, made some bread, right? Spanish guy. I don't know his actual nationality, but he got whooped last night and basically retired. And he's from Miami. So at the end of his speech, you know who's in the building, right?
Hmm.
Donnie T, Agent
Mhm.
Orange.
Oh, I
He's
thought you
in.
know. I thought you
He's
were talking about
in
somebody
this.
else.
He's in this UFC bout the whole show, sitting next to Dana White. And
Oh,
when you look at the crowd of this UFC bout, it's so many guys and women that are in media or celeb status that are conservative and right wing. Like I like following Mario Lopez, but he's friends with all these people. Joe Rogan, we already know how he gets down.
right. Beating his wife.
Um, all this stuff, right?
Oh no, that's Dana.
And
My bad.
that's Dana White. Right. And then so Jorge Masvidal loses and he says, shout out to the greatest president that ever lived. And the entire arena, of course, not everybody in there is from Miami. But we also know Miami, a lot of Hispanic people in Miami vote conservative, etc. But the crowd like roars. And it's like, damn, this dude is getting free pub. It's crazy right now. It's lit. And look who else is in the crowd and they pan to Kid Rock.
Well,
So Kid
don't
Rock was
forget.
sitting with them.
Don't forget that after he said shout out to the biggest president or the greatest president, whatever, he led them on a chant of "Let's go, Brandon." In addition to the whole arena, and so I mean, listen, there's no surprise here. Like that following, the people that gravitate to UFC, there's a handful of people that are gonna be leftists, if you will,
Middle of the road, whatever.
liberal, middle of the road. But
Hmm.
it's a backwoods potunk, knock your teeth out in the backyard sport. Like that's how it started. And so, what do you expect? Like these are people generally, and it's unfortunate. I don't mean any disrespect to the fighters, but the way it started, and I think the fighters are probably better now in this sense. But the way it started, it was people who had absolutely nothing going for them, like no education. They wasn't doing anything with their lives. They was just bums, if you will. They were bums. They were redneck bums, and that's how it started. And so there's no surprise to me that this type of crowd or following
Yeah.
that you would get that kind of response. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's no surprise.
Donnie T being there was a big thing. Didn't expect that, but obviously he's on his publishing run. Kid Rock was there. Um,
You're
which
not su- you're
apparently
not
there's something going on with
surprised.
Bud Light, right?
Right. And Mike Tyson was there. All of these people, but the thing for me is just that you pay attention to is that these people in this arena, it's millions. You got billionaires in there.
Yeah, there's some power in there.
It's a lot of power in there that are purposely making a statement to align with the messaging in this country that is anti everything in this country. Okay, you got Kid Rock in there, who this dude benefited majority of his career culture as a culture vulture, acting like he's down with the rap culture, acting like he's down with the artistry, with the struggle of the most oppressed people in this nation, black people. And then when it becomes beneficial for him, he hits the country switch, and now he's shooting cans of Bud Light because they get behind a transgender person. Like,
Mm.
what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? And I hate to fall into VP's bag, but this is amazing when you think about it. These are people that not only have influence on the people that like what they like, but these are people that have influence on the entire nation in some of the biggest media platforms ever. WWE and UFC just made a deal together. This is big stuff. And this is what these people really align with. Trump, anti-trans movements. What are we? It's kind of crazy. Like the hoods are no longer those backyard potunk people that you talk about.
Hmm.
They're the gatekeepers of some of this sports media, the Barstool, the Fox Sports, the Colin Cowards of the world. All of them guys, yeah, to me, all of them guys fall within all of this stuff, and it just amazed me to just be watching Donald Trump sitting next to Dana White. It blew my mind like that.
Oh,
I
that
knew
doesn't
they were
amaze me. That
friends.
doesn't
I
amaze
knew
me
they
at
were
all.
friends, but just to watch it, considering everything that's going on with this guy, like this is bad. This is bad for the left in some ways, in my opinion, promotionally.
It doesn't surprise me again, like I said, but the other thing that I think is important to note here is they don't care. They stick together. That party sticks together. And when they have a message, they have a message. Meanwhile, we out here mad because somebody's taunting. Like, we're so easily distracted as people. You know what I mean? And we're against each other for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because half of us think, she should have been more tactful, me included. And then half of us think, nah, you wouldn't do that to a white person. So now we got, you know, we got madness in the ranks. Meanwhile, they're banding together and saying, yo, this is our message. We're gonna stand by our guy who just did, you know, a long, hard bid up in New York.
Yeah.
So I hear what EJ's saying, and my almost default response is I think that we're overstating the power of these people. But you have to look around you and see what's going on to say, it might have seemed like that, a while ago, but now, these folks are in power. They're, banning books, banning, people ability to do, whatever. You just had a guy who was an army guy who was convicted of murder in Texas. Murdered some Black Lives Matter protesters in what he called self-defense. He got found guilty, and less than 24 hours after he's found guilty, the governor of Texas says that he's going to issue him a pardon as soon as the request hits his desk. So you can't necessarily live in that bag where you say, I think you kind of overstating these people's relevance, right? At the same time, though, I think that um they are able to kind of they're kind of able to seem like they have a lot of power in the way that this country goes, because there are so many of us um who don't pay attention, you know, who pretend like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna do me, and as long as I'm doing me, everything, will be fine because I'm taking care of myself and yada yada yada. You know what I mean? None of that other shit matters to me. And people have to understand it matters to you greatly, while, you don't have a kid, maybe you will in the future. Maybe you might adopt. Maybe your family members have kids who have to go to schools that, won't provide them free lunch if they're poor, who tells them what kind of books they can read and that kind of shit like that. You may not be gay, but maybe you have a family member who's gay or who's trans or whatever, who has to live under rules and laws that say they can't do this or they can't do that or whatever. You know what I mean? And so people have to kind of, I like Steve said in the beginning, be selfish for a little bit, live for yourself. And I get all of that, right? But at the same time, we're a society, and if we all just go out and be individuals, you know what I mean, then the people who decide to band together, like Steve said, are gonna basically enforce their will on the rest of us.
Yeah, it was two different contexts in that part, but in the selfish part. But to
No, I
Steve's
get that.
point,
I'm kind of just tying it to the
I,
point that I'm
I
making.
get you, but to Steve's point, this is the larger issue that I have a problem with the left and my party is that we don't mobilize until it's voting time. We don't mobilize
VP
until
said that
someone
a lot of times too.
we don't mobilize until someone was wronged, until there's an issue, and then we don't stick to it. You know, how do we have all of this power? Right. And I always go back to the Obama situation with young Jeezy. And I get why on the surface, Jeezy wasn't allowed to come in, et cetera, et cetera. But that wouldn't happen with a Republican president, in my opinion, because they know how to stick to their base and the people that got them there and how to motivate it. When you have that run, when you had Obama having most of the black entertainers that reached the people, that reached levels of people that the Democratic Party at that time and probably still now can't reach, you hold on to that. You massage that. You make sure you get that done. When you're looking at Florida and Masvidal in the octagon says, "Shout out to the best governor in the world," or that we ever had, some shit like that. When you have that going on, but you got the Rick Rosses, you got the Fat Joes, the Noriegas, all of these people, the Uncle Lukes, all of these people in Florida that while they may not make a existential effect or impact on the voting, their voice matters. And as people of that party, we have to start shining the light on the next generation. The party has to get younger. All of the nonsense AOC has to deal with, all of this crap is nothing that I don't want to hear it. It's simple. It's very simple. Hit your base with what they like and what they want and make it happen. And see, the difference is, right? You can say they don't have power. You can feel how you want to feel because you're a political enthusiast. You know what's going on, right? But even that he can say that I'm gonna pardon this guy soon as things walk across my desk. That alone in itself sends a message to
Even if he
those of
doesn't
us.
do it.
It sends a message to those of us on the other side that's like, well, what the fuck are we really going against here? You know what I'm saying? And to your point, Steve, we worrying about the wrong shit, and those are those instances where at Black Lives Matter rallies, we should be telling our people, you should be armed, because you see them protesting, those groups of people, those groups of brothers that go in certain places and they're armed to the teeth at certain rallies and they protecting people. These dudes don't come out with that nonsense. And at some point, as a people, to VP's point, we have to make this real for ourselves every single day, because we're not doing a good job at it right now. And I'm not saying it's all only on, before you rebut, I'm not saying it's only on the politicians, but a lot of this is on the party.
So I hear what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with all of it. The only thing that the only pushback that I'll offer is, and I've said this to you guys before in chat and on the pod, is the Democratic Party, when you compare it to the Republican Party, is a true coalition, right? The Republican Party, they want low taxes, get rid of abortion, and unfettered access to guns. That's basically it, right? All the other shit they talk about,
And no
is
gays.
huh?
And no gays.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, everything else is kind of like window dressing. They talk about, they want to make sure that the debt is low, and
Oh
all
yeah,
this other
yeah, yeah.
bullshit. It's all bullshit. You know what I mean? Guns, taxes, and fucking religion, and that kind of encompasses the gay thing or whatever, right? Whereas on the Democratic side, when I say they're a true coalition, what I mean is that there are some people who are there just because their issue is climate, right? Climate change. Other people, their issue is abortion. Other people, it may be, we're anti-gun or whatever. You know what I mean? And people are only there for whatever their pet thing is. And if you're not talking about that, they're not really here for it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
And
bad thing.
so,
That's the
huh?
bad thing. That's the bad
No,
thing.
no, right. And I'm not saying that that's a good thing. What I'm saying is that it's hard to mobilize and organize people around a central idea if that central idea is not their bag.
But see, I push back on that because again, I don't think that the Republican Party is all just one thing. I think you're gonna find some that's like, I don't have a problem with the gay people. I am gay, whatever. Then you're gonna find people that, are guns or everything. But the thing that their leadership does, they find a way to speak concert music to everyone at the lowest level and at the highest levels. The Democrats, we could be a coalition of many things, but we don't have anybody speaking to us at a lower and higher level. You just don't. The party's old, it's out of touch. They don't do anything but once a year. Even in this state, it's like, oh, Westmore, black man from Baltimore City, Democrat. Oh, but it's gonna be tough. Why? Why is it so hard in a place in a state that should be primarily blue? African American is huge voter base. It's because we can't really find levels that everyone can get what they want. And I mean, fortunately for him, he was able to master that. But if you look across the spectrum, across the nation, the guy in South Carolina, the old guy, 80 something years old, the party's old. You got people like AOC having to fight within her own people to
Well,
get things done.
the president's old.
The
Nigga's
president's
old as
old,
shit.
out of touch. It's just we as a Democratic Party, I get how we operate, and I get that the other side is out there. They do crazy things, but when at some point are we gonna realize what we're doing isn't working? We have to start to fight fire with fire.
Well, so
And,
what
and
I think Democrats don't do real quick, Vari, and then I'll get handed off. Um, is they don't latch on to one thing, right? And VP said the same thing. It's okay to have all these different things, but take that one thing and make that the message to your party to unify the message, right? So Black Lives Matter, police shootings, whatever that one thing is, and stick to it, right? You can't take something that people are split on, like fucking gun violence or gun ownership, rather, not gun violence, but gun ownership. I think that's the one they try to run with the most. I think our party is really strong to this, and our party is really strong to abortion rights, and our party is really strong to gay rights, and let's highlight those. But that's not the case. That's a divided case. There are things that there's that one thing that you have to find, because I guarantee you there's Republicans that feel like that women should have the rights for abortions. They feel like women should have those rights. We've seen that. We know that there's a satisfaction rate in the United States, you know, but they latch onto that one thing for them, which is gun ownership, you know. And granted, we're against it, but you find that root cause, that one thing that everyone has in common for your party, and you have to highlight that, and you have to spotlight, and you have to push it, and then sprinkle in some crack on it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what the Republicans do better than the Democrats.
So where I would push back on you on there on both of you guys is that I think the party does that, right? Where the thing where, to Steve's point, right? You find that one thing that everybody agrees with, and you kind of make that your thing, and then everything is almost like a like a oatmeal raisin cookie or something, where you got the cookie is the main thing, and it gets some raisins sprinkled on it, or in it or whatever, right? And for the party, the last two election cycles, their big thing has been healthcare, right? Trying to protect Obamacare and expand it. You know what I mean? And then other issues have been those side issues. But what you see happen is that a lot of those side issues get pushed to the front. And what I mean by that is that like when EJ says like there's nobody in the party who can do this, who can do that, who's like constantly speaking to the people, is because the difference in the parties is that the Republican Party isn't necessarily doing that. What you have to understand, and you guys understand this, so I'm talking more to people who are listening to us right now, is that the Republican Party has a 24/7 communication arm that is constantly pushing their agenda in Fox News, Newsmax, AON, OAN, all those cable news channels, talk radio. That's constantly, you know what I mean? So like these kinds of things are just constantly going on and on and on, right? Let's take the Bud Light thing for example, since you guys kind of brought it up with Kid Rock being at the UFC thing. Kid Rock goes out there, he posts a video on Twitter, I think it was, of him shooting cans of Bud Light. Now Chris Rock has 50 million.
Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, you said
Okay.
Chris
That's what I
Rock.
said. Oh, my
Okay.
bad.
Just a typo. Just a typo. Just a verbal typo. It's all good.
My bad. Kid Rock has like 50 million Twitter subscribers, right? Or Twitter followers. He does that video. You have to assume all 50 million don't even see it just because of how fucked up the Twitter time feed is now since Elon Musk took over, right?
Right.
Some other guy named Trent, some shit, who's a country singer, says some shit about Bud Light as well, right? It trends on Twitter for a little bit and then it goes away. That's how things normally would happen. But in this case, what happens is Kid Rock tweets the shit out. The other guy tweets something out. Fox News picks it up,
a hold of it,
and then they run crazy with it.
But why?
Now
why? But again, right? Why are we as a party? You got the MSNBC because I think that's the closest thing you have to a left wing place, right?
I wholeheartedly disagree with you. But go ahead.
I think I said the closest thing largely, like, but why? Nevertheless, why don't the Democrats in this day and age have that one place where their people are getting constant imagery? All of these, to Steve's point, right? All of these black local outlets, the BT Newses, the allhiphop.com, the Drink Champs podcast, all of these other places that promote black culture, black people, liberalism, different things. Why not as a party start to go on these different outlets, start to make these people start to put out the same messaging? It's politics. Why are the Democrats still living in the 50s and 60s thinking that they have to be courteous to the other side? It's not working.
So here's my answer to that. I'll say two things. One is that all these media organizations that you mentioned, right? They are basically media organizations, right? They do news. Fox, OAN, News, they're not news organizations. They're conservative outlets who are, as we can see from these court filings in this Fox defamation case, are 100% down to completely lie to their audience, right? In these court filings, we're seeing text messages and emails and things like that from the Fox CEO, from the owner of the company in Rupert Murdoch, that's basically saying, hey, we can't tell these people this because they're getting pissed. So we're going to tell them some bullshit. You see an email thread from Maria Bartiromo, who's one of their top hosts, who you find out the origins of her pushing the whole election was stolen narrative comes from a woman who sent her an email, who literally tells her in the email, EJ, that she had a near-death experience that allows her to hear voices in the wind that tell her things that's going on. She gets rid of the whole in the wind shit and says, yeah, somebody told me, one of my sources, that the election was stolen.
I get it, but why on the other side can't we have something factual or that satisfies the Democratic palate? That we know what they do, but what is our response? What do we bring to the people?
And so what I would say is that Democrats go on these networks. Democrats go on Fox. Pete Buttigieg is on Fox News all the time. right?
But
because
he
he
be
don't really,
fighting though. He be up there
but he
fighting
don't
though.
but he don't really give a shit about the people. He gives a shit about his pockets. From what I've seen, he gives a shit about his pockets. He ain't back in the race. He ain't back in the running. He's going on as a correspondent. He's giving his political opinion everywhere, and he'll go against these right wing people because he knows he's gonna get his money. I mean, when are we gonna have the people on our side hitting the people every day with the messaging that they need at a level they can digest, and make it truthful, make it worthwhile, make it above board, make it when they go low, we go high. That's great.
No, we need to stay
Where
low.
is it?
We need
I,
to stay low.
I
We
agree with
need
you. I'm
we
with
need
you.
a
I think we need to be ratchet. Get Rick
yeah.
Ross,
We
get Cameron in there to
I don't know
talk
about
some
that.
political shit. I'm
I
just
don't know
saying.
about that. But we do
Maybe
need
not Cam, but
we need a liberal representative who's absolutely raw, like a Tucker Carlson, who's gonna come out and say, this is what the shit really is. And I don't care what's gonna happen because guess what? This guy don't give a shit about his, what people think of him. And his ratings are through the roof. And the people love him. And now he's taking pictures with Nori. And guess who's Nori's following normally is? Black people. So now you got him who's going to be on Nori's show. And granted, that's a I don't agree with Nori interviewing him for whatever reason,
Cam, who like me, I don't know who you're talking about. When you say
Tucker
him.
Carlson. Tucker Carlson.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But you're now branching out to a whole nother audience, right? And now you can spin on that podcast and
yep.
say, yo, I know I'd be saying some shit on Fox News that's a little
I'm not a
off.
bad guy.
But here, let me tell you why I'm doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back to your platform and you're just a fucking wild right-wing maniac.
Nazi.
And that's what the liberal party needs. They need someone who is unapologetically liberal, like VP, that thinks that far into it, but is absolutely raw and doesn't give a shit about the consequences of saying what's really going on.
And maybe not just one person, a
whole fucking station.
That's
like
what I'm
Fox
saying.
News.
Like, why can't we have not the Fox News, but the factual place, the tasteful place, the place that Democrats know their voice, where it might not speak to everything. While I'm a Democrat for gun ownership, I'm not gonna like VP stance, but I am for gay rights, trans rights. So I'm gonna listen to this person's stance. Why don't we have that? It's almost like we're still in the 50s and 60s, and hey, we're not putting it out there. We're not the right side. We don't do that. That's what's fucking killing us right now. It's literally what's killing us.
I'll answer your questions by saying this: we had that, right? And people didn't watch when Al Gore left the White House after he lost the 2000 election. He started his own news network called Current TV, and
but is that because people didn't like Al Gore because of who he was?
Yeah, but it wasn't like Al Gore was doing the shows. Like, you know what I mean? It was filled with liberal hosts, people like Keith Olbermann and Rachel Maddow and folks
who
like that.
But were they PC? Were they PC? I don't want PC people. I don't want someone who's going to get up there and be like, hey, everyone, Joe Biden's doing a great thing. He's trying to preserve Obamacare. I want somebody that's going to get up there and be like, yo, y'all think what happened with Trump? Like, that's what I want.
I hear you, right? But when they started this network in the early to mid aughts, the 2000s, nobody watched. And then Al Gore had to end up selling this shit or whatever. It was a cable news channel. They had hosts, they had shows, and they were talking about all of this.
So he quit.
No, I'm just saying. But the thing is that I can get
it's the people that we talking about. Olbermann, who just recently tweeted that Angel Reese was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but that's
some of these Democrats
I'm talking about then, though. At this, regardless of how what we can't look at what happened then in the lens of today. What I'm saying is that thing happened, right? And maybe it didn't start off how you want it now, right? Maybe it could have evolved to that. Maybe if people watched and gave it some lasting power, right? It could get to the point to where they say, man, you know what? This shit, like this shit is out of control. January 6th happened. We can't keep going, like to Steve's point, it says, Biden's doing a good job, guys. Just keep hanging in there. We're going to get you across the line. And then they say, yo, we got to get raw. You know what I mean? But people didn't watch to give them the time to evolve. The thing was on TV for maybe 3 years, and then it folded. You
You
know,
know why?
because and it folded because people didn't watch.
You know why too? Because the Democrats are what do we call it? Selective outrage moral people with moral compasses, and those are the same people that looked at Al Gore and say, "Oh well, you know, his past, the sexual touching and this and that." It's
Shooting
because
niggas in the back.
it's because they don't. The Democrats, they look at someone, they look at the messenger, and they don't like the messenger, so they don't like the message. And again, that was then, and we have more technology now. We have better people to get behind now. You know, you got to appeal to your base. If your base has been historically black, and loyal base has been historically black, get somebody
Poor.
black out there that makes sense, that
And
can
poor.
touch the new voters and poor. And you know what I mean? You got Al
I'll
Gore.
do it.
Nobody
it,
wanted
man.
to listen to Al Gore then as
Y'all
vice
pay me.
president. They didn't even like this guy.
Right.
Pay me and give me
got
the
you.
content. I'll do it.
I got you, right? But again, let me just say it
I
again.
mean,
Al
I
Gore
get your
wasn't on
example.
TV. He just owned it.
I
He
get
wasn't
your
on
example.
So
I get
so
your
here's
example.
But
here's
let
the
me
thing.
let me answer the second thing though, real quick, Steve, on the point about Nori and Tucker Carlson.
Which was
And
a
I
great
think
point.
this is, huh?
No, Steve made a phenomenal point. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Right, and that's the problem though, right? Is because what Nori's doing here is the same shit that Bill Maher does, right? Bill Maher would say,
yeah.
you know, you can't ignore these people. We need to hear what they gotta say.
And then have them on
they
the
go
show.
on to Bill Maher's show, or when Tucker goes on Nori's podcast, and they're gonna sound reasonable, right?
Yep.
He's gonna say, when he says,
Likeable.
he's gonna be like, yo, Tuck, man, you know, talk to me about the I see on your show, man, you be bashing trans people, man. What up with that? And then he's gonna say, we're not necessarily bashing trans people.
Did I
All
do
we're
that?
saying is that there's some people who just don't agree. Like would
Or
you
there's
want
bad
your
trans people.
5-year-old
That's what he's gonna
daughter?
try and pitch.
Would you want
there
your
you go.
5-year-old daughter going to the bathroom with a biological male who's dressed as a woman who's 45 years old?
Narrative.
Wouldn't that make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah,
And
he's gonna
Nora's
create
gonna
a
say,
narrative.
I mean, you got a point, dude.
Yeah, you're right,
You know what I
dog.
mean? You're right, dog. You know,
Yeah,
and then that's gonna be the clip,
slang right
and
now.
then he's gonna go back to his show being racist as fuck. And
It's
it's
true,
shit
though.
like that is why I say
It's true.
you shouldn't have these people on, right? But for conservatives, right, they get to have their cake and eat it too, right? Because they get to be homophobic, transphobic, anti-black, whatever in their own spaces. And then when they try to bring that shit into our spaces, if we don't allow it, they say you're being anti-free speech.
But we
These
give
conservative
a fuck. That's
judges
the
who go to law
problem.
schools and get
But that's
protested.
exactly.
That's the problem. We give a shit what
We
they
care.
say. And
We
the other
shouldn't.
thing is too, if
We
you
don't give a
connect
shit what they say.
No,
That's
we
the point I'm
do.
making, right?
We do. That's
No,
why
no.
we allow them on there.
No, that's why we take the high road.
This is what I'm saying. This is what me and Steve are saying. And then you look at the two.
I'm EJ.
Look at the two
I'm
people
kind
you
of
just brought up.
agreeing
Though.
with you.
VP's
I know, but-
agreeing out of.
but look
I'm
at-
saying, like,
I
for
know we're
Nori,
all saying
why
we're
say-
saying the
why
same
bring
thing.
them on?
We're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is right, and what I'm saying is the difference between me and you. We agree, but I'm not giving the Democratic Party bail. The thing is here, right? We look at the people you just named. There's also a cultural problem with those people. Bill Maher and the racist shit that he continues to say on the low, and the bullshit that he does. Keith Olbermann that
And
you
allow
named,
on his show. That's the
and
thing.
Keith Olbermann that you named out here disrespecting a young black woman, claiming not even to know the context. These are the people that we're really gonna hang the banner on. Rachel Maddow has said a lot of stupid shit, a lot of dumb shit. So maybe the Democratic Party really needs to reflect its true base, the black people, the black educated people, because black people, honestly, in this nation have been the only true ones that have been really for everyone. We don't
And get up there and sit with them, right? And I
yep.
know we give people a hard time, and we say, you know, they're pandering when they go to, you know, but they're going to the wrong spots. Like, you're going to a Charlemagne, like that's not where you want to go. Like, you're trying to get your get it out to black people. You're going to Charlemagne. Go to somebody a little different who is not known for just trolling the world. You know what I'm saying? I just, the last thing I'll say, because we're deep into it, pause, is you need someone. The difference is, right, you need a group of people who don't give a shit about the fact checking, because Republicans, if you think about what you see all over the media, all over the internet, all of their supporters, they will get on there and they will tell you Joe Biden sniffs girls, Joe Biden touches little girls. Fact checkers will tell you we've proven that's not true. But guess what? It's a narrative they created and they will continue to push it. There's so much so that these social media platforms look at your post and say, just in case, you might want to know that this post is fictional. After you've posted so many of them, I follow someone that does it. When you go to look at their page, it'll say, hey, careful, this person is known for posting things that are not truthful, right? But guess what? They continue to do it. Their following continues to go to it, and they will continue to push it, and they will learn or they'll get the backing from those people. And we're just not doing it. We're on that high road shit. Well, we can't stretch the truth. We have to make sure everything we say is factual. No, that's fine for you as the politician. But you need representatives like somebody like me, who I will go out there and say, whatever. I'll make them think that Donnie T done some Donnie T stuff. The only thing we really went off of is grab him by the pussy. And shit turned out to be real. You know what I'm saying?
And they still
we just started to care. What are we? He's out of office now, ready to rerun, and now we're caring. The hush money and stuff like that. And guess what? This shit ain't even gonna hurt him. It's gonna make him even better. And it's gonna hurt us. We gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. We need a new station of individuals who just don't give a shit. Like a Star. EJ, like a Star, and I'm not saying him specifically, but someone with that kind of, tact, that kind of approach that's going to get on there and just be like, yo,
I remember that guy.
Yeah, you need someone like that to be like, yo, Ron DeSantis was just out there by Disney. I think he was stopping by them Nazis' houses that live out there. He was seen. He was spotted in that area.
Or it's a lot of stuff out there that you really don't have to make up. Hey, they retweeted this from this group.
Exactly.
He's gonna pardon the murder of black people. I mean,
you got the wrong people doing it. Is all I'm saying. You got the wrong VP.
I'm saying we don't have any people.
I hear what you're saying. Wrong people, any people, or whatever. I get that, right? But I don't know if a party could necessarily create a news network. Because again, Republicans didn't create Fox, right? Fox
well, you don't have to. Yeah, and I was going to say you don't have to create it, but if I create it, don't look away from it. Don't be like, oh,
I got you.
Right?
Because they still pop up at Fox News, right? They still do it. You know what I mean? They highlight it.
Why is Tucker Carlson the first real politician going on Noriega's show? When I'm a congressman of Brooklyn or wherever, you know what I mean? And I know this base, I can get there. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things, like, to Steve's point, you may not have started officially, but adopt that shit. It's okay. It's okay.
So it's okay. I would say on this, like, Steve trying to transition. So I would just say when you say like something like a Nori, right? Yeah, Nori's super popular, et cetera, right? But if you're a politician who goes on Nori, Tucker's going to go on Nori, right? And let's say next week, AOC went on Nori, right? The thing is going to be AOC appears on podcasts known for getting drunk and smoking weed. What kind of a public servant? Blah blah blah. That's going to be
they already talk crazy about her.
I get that,
but she's an actual politician.
I get that, but they already talk. Tucker's not a politician, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And those same people will overlook the fact that Tucker went on there. Because they'll say, oh, well, when Tucker was on there, they weren't smoking weed and getting drunk. Well, you think when they were getting drunk and smoking weed when AOC was on there? But more than likely not.
Let's take AOC out of it.
Spun.
Let's take AOC out of it. Put what's our man, the bald-headed dude with the glasses? I can't remember his name. Any one of them political correspondents that rival Tucker Carlson. Any one of them. You know what I'm saying? We, again, on the back end, they're gonna say this shit about us anyway. We're acting like there's anything that we can do that's going to prevent the other side from saying the wild shit they're going to say. Barack Obama, I heard he was born on the moon. He's not American. What?
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he
They're
was
gonna
born
get
in a
that anyway.
Taliban camp.
Him and Osama went to elementary school together. Listen, they're gonna
I'm
say
with
it
you.
anyway. We don't have, once again, to Steve's point, that other side that can talk to our people, our voting base, the people that are sitting on their ass that are saying, "Nah, dog, this don't do nothing for me. I'm gonna sit this one out." Those people
Mhm.
you annually bash. We don't have anyone pulling them out their chair to say, "You know what? Fuck the other side. We
And
got it over here too."
excessive bullshit sells too. Like we
No,
live in
I
an
got you.
age.
I hear you. I just think they probably think politically.
Yeah, they
We
got to
can't
be
put
moral.
ourselves in that situation. So
Yeah, they got to be
well,
moral.
we're gonna go talk to Charlemagne. We'll go talk to Ricky Smiley. We go talk to Tom Joyner and Michael Baisden and Steve
Yeah, I
Harvey
don't.
and,
I
and
don't
those
need you
kind of
to
people.
talk. I don't need you to talk to my, my responsible heroes. I want you to talk to my ear. I want you on a Joe Budden podcast. Like that's what I want. Because like when Fauci was on there, it was entertaining. When
What?
Fauci went
Nori?
on Joe Budden, when
Okay.
Fauci was on there, it was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like as much as people don't like Joe Budden, he will say the shit and he will ask the questions and get right to it. So that's the type of person I would rather see people. But the real problem is if AOC goes on Nori, nobody paying attention to nothing else. It's gonna be a different narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you guys talked about Oberman making comments about
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese.
Mhm.
And that's been a big talking point. And, I guess that's a kind of part of our political conversation in some of what took place there with the White House um, offers and things of that nature. So I want to talk about Angel Reese. First of all, let me rewind. Shout out to LSU. Congratulations to them, LSU women's NCAA champions for 2023. Played a hell of a game. Blew out Iowa or Idaho? One of
Yes,
them.
University of Iowa.
Who the fuck? It blew them out, and shout out to UConn as well, NCAA men's team. But LSU women went out there, put on a show. Angel Reese, the hand gesture heard around the world, basically turned into a big political thing where basically Caitlin, last name, anybody?
Clark.
Caitlin
Oh, Caitlin Clark.
Clark. Caitlin Clark, who listen, she's a monster. Like I hadn't really seen her play until that game, and then I went back and looked at her on YouTube. This little thing she is little Steph Curry.
Yeah,
Like
she's good.
she step backs and she don't look like she plays like a dude. Like she could probably play in the NCAA men's tournament, and she could make moves. Like she's nice, yo.
Yeah.
She grew up playing
Um,
with boys because they didn't have a women's or girls league in her neighborhood. So she was on a boys AAU team most of her life.
she
Wow.
nice.
Yeah, she's nice.
She ended up putting up 30 on them still in the finals. It just wasn't enough. Angel Reese and her team, Angel Reese doubled. I think she went like 16-10 or 18-10. She still had a really good game. And old girl,
Williams.
her second in command also had a really good game. Anyway, Angel Reese made it a point throughout the game to taunt Caitlin because Caitlin made it a point throughout the tournament to taunt her opponents. So they played, I want to say it was NC. She did this to one of them as she's running back up the court. So when they're playing in the championship game, LSU, Angel Reese is standing next to her waiting for the free throws. She does the same thing to her, right? I don't think anyone has a concern with that. I think what turns into it is towards the end of the game, buzzer sounds. Angel Reese is walking towards her bench. Caitlin's walking towards her bench. And it appears Angel Reese made it an absolute point to divert, make sure she got in front of Caitlin, and make it clear to say, yo, you can't see me, and made a gesture towards her finger for a ring. And that turned into this big shit that took everybody's minds off of Donald Trump, the Republican Party, because we're worried about it. Even took people's minds off of celebrating LSU. It was more now about this young black girl who made a gesture towards this young white girl, and now it's got to be a race thing. And it was a two-sided thing. I don't want to make it seem like, because I think we turned it racial.
I think that's in a vacuum of everything that happened. I think I get what you're saying in a simplistic form of that being true. But I think the problem is when you look at Caitlin Clark and her behavior throughout the tournament, it has been boastful. It's been, all of these things similar to what Reese did when she played Louisville. She was talking crazy to Louisville players. She similarly kind of went towards one of the Louisville players and made the similar gesture, the Tony Ayo, John Cena gesture when she played South Carolina, just
you can't
blatantly on the court. Yeah, blatantly on the court, just playing South Carolina, just dissing them. And the thing was, the comments, the broadcasters, there was nothing to see here. They were praising her. They were just talking how she's an assassin, she's a sniper. And then when Angel Reese does it, there became a problem that extended from basketball. It was the narrative that, oh, she's classless, she's tasteless, she's ghetto, she's this, that, and the third. And
the ghetto stuff was there already. Not saying that it was warranted or like she deserved that, but that was already there. That wasn't specific to that.
And people have been saying that about her. Here's the thing, the thing about it is, it's when you deviate from the sports world and you're talking about sports related stuff and you use that narrative. We've seen it done 1,000 times. We've seen the world and the league do it to Iverson. You know what I'm saying? So it does become more than just sports when you're telling people that how they look and how they respond to something emotionally is beneath the standard simply because they're black when they haven't done anything different. You know what I mean? It's like how the league was telling Iverson, hey, your braids, they finally come up with a dress policy when this guy comes in the league, but he's just wearing braids. He's having tattoos. No, I'm saying it's the narrative behind it that extends it. I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm saying that it's in that vein that once you start moving from the facts, because to call this girl the things that she was being called, like Oberman calling her a fucking idiot. This girl.
Yeah, he was OD. He was.
But it's the thing.
I think everybody agrees there.
He's not one. He was one of many, and that's what becomes the problem. That it now extends from what you're simply saying happened in your eyes, which I get it. It makes sense because we're looking at it objectively. We're looking at it as a game. We're looking at the events that happen. When you have the Obermans who become one of many, and that becomes the narrative, and then you look at these Twitter feeds and the comments and everything that's going on, it becomes about race because this is what our nation is about. We can't deny that.
Yeah, but who's doing it, right? Sorry, VP, I'll let you get to it. When you talk about Oberman and you say he's one of many, the one of many aren't the many Obermans. Those are the many Tucker Carlsons, and he just happened to get pulled in, and now that base is with him, right? Like I don't think you had people who were really thinking logically that were like, yo, like to me, I'll give my point and I'll hand it to you, VP. My point is you can do whatever you want between the horns, horn 1 and horn 2. When the game's done, when it ends, at that point, that's when sportsmanship comes into play. Yo, you played a great game. You know what I'm saying? Or fuck you, I'm walking off the court. We've seen that from LeBron and other stars because, nobody likes to lose. Like, I get that. But, once that horn blows, now for you to come make it a point to come walk over into my face, not from a distance, like even if it's from a distance and I'm walking away and you doing that, but for you to beeline around, come into my face, real like disrespectful, that's a problem for me. That's a problem no matter what the color is. And that's I think everyone wants to put color with everything, you know what I'm saying? And the color piece is easy because you have those individuals who are making it like, oh, well, she's ghetto, she's hood rat, she did that because she's that. But from a realistic logistical point, if you just take somebody who's objective, myself, right, who I'm not looking at it from a black white lens. I'm looking at it from a true sportsmanship lens. Like, yo, once the horn blows, game's over. Yo, you either gonna tell me good game or you're gonna walk away. Like anything beyond that is disrespect.
So I hear what you're saying. I kind of agree and disagree with both of you, right? And to your point,
no shock there.
to your point, Steve, I get it with the sportsmanship thing, whatever, right? But you have to take multiple things into account. Angel Reese is 20 years old. You know what I mean? So like we can't expect her to act with the professionalism of somebody,
because you can't even name professionals that act like that all the time.
Right. So you know, I think you got to cut her some slack there, right? And I will remind you, you know, there was a Ja Morant discussion a couple weeks ago, you know, where you were in a totally different bag. So
how so?
We don't got to go there. I'm just saying, you know.
How so? Oh, I should blame her parents?
No,
I don't get
it.
You
didn't have a problem with the bench reacting to Shannon Sharp or the team reacting to Shannon Sharp the way they did.
I did have a problem with that. That was my whole stance.
No, you had a problem with Ja Morant's dad. You have a problem with the Grizzlies though.
In the middle of the game, between the horns.
It's in the middle of the game.
That's the piece.
Even worse.
That's the piece I'm making. Listen, between the horns, like the whole, even the Pistons fight. The Pistons fight happened at the end of the game. It's still between the horns, yo. If you're gonna come at me and disrespect me in between the horns, I'm with it.
But even with that being said, right? Angel Reese, you know, she's 20 years old. Let's cut her some slack. It's a young woman, you know what I mean? She got a little growing up to do, etc. You know what I mean? Wow. She's trying to grow up in front of the public eye with the spotlight on her, all that kind of thing. At the same time, though, right? This kind of behavior, we like to EJ's point, we see it from professionals, right? Sometimes people in sports have to get themselves worked up in order to elevate their game. It kind of reminds me of the thing from The Last Dance, when Jordan planted a story about the dude from the other team saying some shit that he totally made up in order to get it in newspapers to fire himself up to play. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes players have to do things. So it could have been LSU and Iowa never played each other until they reached championship, right? Angel Reese could be watching the games like, yo, look at this. Hell, I cannot believe this shit. You know, like, and all of that shit is just like fueling her. And then they get a championship, and it's like, now I got to let this monster out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm tired of this.
She put 30
shit.
up on you. She put 30 on you. End of the day, you got to respect. You got to respect that.
They still won, and he ain't saying that she don't. Won. It's that as an athlete you have, and to the women's argument, women argue this shit all the time. When the men do it, nobody bats an eye. Let's take Steve out of it. Out of it. But when the men do it, no one bats an eye. When motherfuckers, after the game, your whole after the game, during the game argument to me and you,
EJ,
and Barry, I think it's complete bullshit. But
right,
the passion. I mean, I could just tell you, you know, even if you looking in the NFL and just different things that happen. T.O. standing on the star, just all of these things that go on. It happens in sports. It happens. Right. It's just what it is.
Here go one more recently, and basketball, right? Jimmy Butler, the Heat play the 76ers. After the game, he's in the press conference. The game is over. He's done the on the court interview. He's gone to the locker room, listen to Spoelstra talk. He's taken a shower. He's changed clothes. All he has to do is go get on the bus to go home. And he's at the end of the game press conference. Y'all put Tobias Harris on me? Tobias, are you serious? Tobias Harris.
Yeah, but you're talking about an interview versus physically being in my face.
Let's talk about Melo and Kevin Garnett.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Going to the tunnel, etc., etc.
Right.
All of this stuff, like
you know what that means? You know what that means? That means smoke. That means smoke.
Okay, so
that's
what's wrong
smoke.
with that?
That's not sportsmanship. That's not if I come see you in the tunnel after the game, just like Chris Paul when he went to the other locker room. When I'm here, now it's smoke. And when she went after what I'm saying, you're missing my point. I did have a point. I problem with it. My point is after the game, when she went there, it's perceived as smoke.
So
to me. So if it's perceived as smoke, it's wrong for y'all to think if Caitlyn would have hauled off and punched her in her face, now she wrong.
So assaulting someone, like
Here we go.
can't,
but you supported Melo.
handle,
Stop right there.
no, I didn't
Stop
support
right there.
Melo. I thought Melo was an idiot, and I think it looked stupid in the first place because again, Melo is the same guy that hit somebody and then ran. So it's like if you not, you know what I mean?
He hit him
Again,
hard
like
though. He hit him hard.
I'm not knocking that, but he ran
I
behind
might
his
run too,
teammates.
yo, because you probably tried to kill me after I punch you like that.
It's what
hit
I'm
him
saying.
hard.
It's like it happens. Like we talking, and I'm not knocking what you're saying. I don't want you to think that your point is totally invalid. I'm just saying it's sports. And to VP's point,
I know you
we know this shit happens, but the
you're a juice
difference
head,
here,
so you think
I former
you think-
juice head. I wish I was, but the thing is sports and it's emotion. The difference here, right? You didn't hear that happen when it was Melo on KG, when it was Jimmy on Tobias Harris.
What you mean?
But when it's Caitlin Clark, now the media, and it don't have to be Tucker Carlson. It was Keith Olbermann. It was many other people that now the narrative becomes, oh, she's classy. They start to talk about the same narrative that they commonly associate Black people with being a certain thing. And that becomes the problem that then makes it about race.
And
that's
exactly
the problem.
That was the second point that I was going to make, right? Is that if this was two Black female athletes, I don't even think this is a story.
No,
right?
we can't do the what ifs because you could do the same thing. I could say, what if Caitlyn did this to her and they won?
No,
like,
right? But
I don't. That's why I don't.
She has been doing it. That's the point.
Right.
No.
She has been doing it.
She's been doing it to white girls.
Right. And
she has been doing it, and that's the
my point, right? Is that now you have this Black chick from Baltimore, right? And you have this white girl from Iowa, middle of the country, heartland, America's sweetheart kind of vibe. You know what I mean? And it sets up this narrative. It almost reminds me of, and EJ will be more familiar with this because he watches college football. And you said that's not your bag, Steve. When UM played Notre Dame in the 80s, and the headlines were Catholics versus convicts in national newspapers.
Yep.
That's how they framed the story. Catholics versus convicts.
It's a true statement.
Because you
it's
I was gonna
true.
say the only part, some of it was true. Mike Irvin, Jesse Armstead.
It's kind of true, dog. It's kind of true. Let's not act like it ain't real.
Oh, well, not Jesse Armstead.
But here's the thing, right? Like, here's my biggest key, right? Like, we say that they had a huge problem with it because she was doing it. If that was the case, we would have seen the tweets and stuff mid-game. She did some of that stuff mid-game. It wasn't until the one instance after the game where she went out of her way, walking towards her bench and saying, hold up, you know what? Let me go start some shit. And walked over in her face, not even from a distance, like in her face.
She had some separation. She wasn't up on her.
Yeah, there was distance.
She was,
and I don't remember seeing it happen.
It was enough distance for me to punch her in the face.
I'm gonna tell you like this:
that was
Caitlin Clark did it to that same girl from Louisville when she crossed.
What was the
right
distance?
in front? It was the same. It was about 5 feet away. Mm-hmm. Same distance.
What point in the game?
It was after the game.
During the game.
It was after the game.
It
was after the game. It was literally after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Literally after the game, and when Caitlin Clark was in the freaking.
Let me take it off of sports. Let me take it off sports.
Hold on, let's go back.
Hold on, let me take it off sports. Let me take it off sports. I'm gonna give you. Let me give you.
Went back to Kate. Hold on, I'm gonna give you more history on your girl. When she beat another squad and they were in the lineup to shake hands, she's in there talking shit to the other team face to face.
EJ, was that after the horn?
Yes.
Okay. Where's the video?
It was in the handshake line.
Where's the video?
I just wanted to confirm.
I'll show it for you.
Don't I see, that's the thing. I need facts. Y'all can't just come here and be like, yo, there was this one time when Caitlin Clark showed up to her house and it was
it's not facts because you didn't know about it.
No, because I haven't seen it.
But me and VP both know. But so it's not facts until you see it. But it's happened.
VP knows about it, or VP just heard you say it? VP knows about it, or he heard you say it.
Make your point. He just said he saw it.
Okay, so let me take it off of sports. Let me take it off of sports. You're in the club, right? Somebody steps on your shoe, right? Mm-hmm. You're like, yo, what's going on? They turn to you, they look at you funny. You're like, all right, I'm gonna brush it off. If I see him and it gets crazy, then it's on, right? After the club, You see the dude, you both walking out. He's walking to his car. You're walking to your car. You're not going to set it for no reason. But if he's walking in his car and you're walking in your car and now he makes a turn and starts walking towards you, you should set it. Like, that's disrespect. That's coming looking for smoke. And that's what she did. That's what she did. That's exactly what happened. You're walking to your bench. I'm walking to my bench. The game is over. And you decided to make it a point to come over in my face. You want to smoke. And that's distasteful.
Steve, I think I'll speak for myself at least. I think EJ's making his point as well, but I'll say just for myself. I'm not saying that the shit wasn't disrespectful, right? The point that I'm making is that this is the kind of shit that happens in sports, and it's not an on-off switch. It's sometimes it's hard to get yourself, like I said earlier. Angel Reese could have, been fuming, like a fucking pressure cooker the whole tournament. Like, I can't wait to see this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard. It's almost like with boxers, right? The way it's like you go from two people who seemingly don't even know each other, and they get to the weigh-in, and it seems like these dudes are like mortal fucking enemies. You know what I'm saying? And it's because you have to get yourself in that space to go against the opponent, right?
You know what Angel Reese looked like in this game doing that? She looked like Dylan Brooks.
She looks like
John Morant. John Morant be out there carrying the shit out of Memphis, and Dylan Brooks be talking mad shit. Caitlin put up 30. They got carried by a B level talent, not Angel Reese, that carried them to the finish line. And she did a Dylan Brooks and was like, I'm gonna go
selling the entire tournament.
I'm gonna go talk shit.
Does Caitlin Clark have a ring?
Angel Reese has been killing it the entire tournament and throughout the career.
She has.
So again, and
I'm pretty sure I posted it in our chat.
I'll end with this in the best perspective on it. Caitlin Clark actually defended Angel Reese. It says shit talking is a part of basketball. Nothing to see here. Shout out to Caitlin Clark for being. Shout out to Caitlin Clark for having that Mamba mentality.
Right.
She didn't care nothing about that. What are we talking about?
And she literally said, I didn't even see the shit. Why? Because, like, to EJ's point, she said that she's a huge Kobe fan. She lived by that Mamba mentality shit. She's like, I'm in the zone. I don't even see that shit.
What?
When did she say that?
Caitlin Clark she's about that life.
When did she say that?
She's about that life.
She got interviewed last week on ESPN.
He didn't see it. He didn't see it. It's not facts. Don't worry.
No, I know. No, I know she said it. I know she said it. She said it after all of Black Twitter and all of Black America
she
made
don't
her
care. She's been doing it.
Damn...
She don't care. Caitlin Clark didn't get no smoke for that.
You don't have to make her a victim, dog. You don't have to make her.
I'm not making her a victim. I'm not making her a victim.
You are.
You're like,
I'm not making her a victim. I'm just saying.
Twitter,
bruh, it's just like your boy Biden came out and did student loans just because Black Twitter pressured him. You know what? I guess I got to do it.
Let's stay on topic. So,
that's still topic. That's Biden.
No, because this is what I'm saying with Caitlin Clark, right? Caitlin Clark probably in her mind is like, yo, I didn't see the shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm here trying to win. She's coming back. I think she's coming back next year. I believe
she is coming back next year.
Okay, she's coming back, and she's probably like, I'm gonna see her next year, and then we gonna see what's up.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and how can she and shout out to
that don't change the act.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark for not being delusional, because she like, dog, how can I be mad and I did this shit? I've done it. I've talked trash the entire tournament, dog. She's one that said, I'm cashing the checks that I'm gonna write every day. And she don't have no problem with it. Like, she's the only one seemingly that can't see the hypocrisy in the whole shit.
What that mean? So Republicans don't got a problem. So Republicans don't got a problem with Trump doing what he does. So that makes it okay.
Here we go. We not even. What are we talking about? Apples and oranges.
Because you're basically hold on. Because you're making it seem like because Caitlin Clark made a statement that people can't judge the situation. Hey, you guys can't judge the situation and have an opinion because she herself said it's nothing to see. No, that's not right. That's not right.
You can have an opinion. All we're saying is this was an athlete who was fired up, right? Was the shit a lapse in judgment from a young woman? Sure.
That's it. Stop right there. Stop. I don't need the buts. I don't need the and if but ors.
Again, the difference is that you're missing. No one's saying that either act is wrong, whether it was from Caitlin or whether it's from Angel. The difference is no one called Caitlin classless and ghetto.
Exactly.
You know, my biggest
I didn't have a problem with Caitlin.
Stop it. Like, what are we talking about?
But
Caitlyn was
you
doing
make,
that, I didn't have a problem.
you're making it seem like that instance is where the ghetto started. Like this shit's been happening all year. Ain't nobody say nothing. Nobody came to the front of the congregation and said, "Stop calling this young girl ghetto." She was called ghetto
Who was,
all
who was
fucking
calling a ghetto?
everybody. She
Who?
said it
I
herself.
didn't-
To your point. To your point, she came out and
That-
said, "Y'all been calling me ghetto all year." Like
I didn't see it, so I don't know.
she didn't see it. Yeah, I
She
know.
said
I
that.
know.
I heard
said
it.
that
I heard her
in
see it.
her-
I
No,
heard
I
her
know.
say it.
I know.
I heard her say it. I didn't see anyone. I haven't seen anyone call her ghetto. I didn't see
Right.
the key. I didn't see anyone tweet her. She was a fucking idiot until then. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I didn't see the national outrage until then. That's all I'm saying.
Again, she made
yes.
she made a bad decision. It was unsportsmanlike, and that's the end of the story. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest piece is for me, we gotta stop bubbling everything up to race. Oh well, if it was black girls, oh they're giving her a hard time because she's black. Like everything that happens has to be race, and that's not the case, man.
It doesn't have to be race, Steve, but it's hard to not see it that way when you see, like to EJ's point. When
You don't have to
see-
make black people victims, just like you
right.
said. I don't got to
Nobody's
make
trying to
Caitlyn.
make them a victim, Steve. But it's hard to see the media outlash at Angel Reese when in this one instance when you've seen Caitlin Clark doing this shit all season and all tournament. Right? It's easy to say, "Oh, I didn't see it during the season. It's Iowa. I don't watch their games." But you watch the tournament, and even if you don't watch the tournament, you watch ESPN, and you see in these highlights her doing this shit all the time. Nobody says, "Oh,
You're
muscle
right.
mentality. She's a killer. She's a beast."
No,
Boom,
you're
boom.
right. You're right.
And then Angel Reese does it to her, and all of a sudden she's classless. She's
But you know why?
like da 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 da. And so
But
it's
you know
hard
why?
to not see it in those racial terms. It's the same shit when we talk about football, right?
Yep.
When T.O.'s on the sideline and he's acting up, he's a diva. This fucking guy thinks he's bigger than the team. When Tom Brady's on the
does it.
sideline
He's
breaking
passionate.
tablets and shit, he's so passionate. He just loves. He cares so much.
Come
You know what I
on,
mean?
dog.
And so it's hard.
So that's
to
a
not
race
see
thing?
it in those racial lines.
That's a race thing, or that's a stardom thing.
T.O.'s
Because
one of the best
here's the
receivers
thing.
of all time.
Well,
How was it not a
So,
stardom?
but here's
How was
the
he not a
thing.
star?
Here's the thing. You got two eyes, right? And the eye that says sportsmanship, you got it covered. And you're saying all I see is racism. You can't
That's not
see
what I'm
from
saying.
both. You can't
Did
see from
anyone
both. No,
argue
this is how you.
sportsmanship versus you?
This is yes,
No, we
absolutely.
didn't. No, we didn't.
You just said you have a problem with people saying that was bad sportsmanship. You said
No, I
that's your
never
whole
said
argument.
that. No, I
It's the
never
whole
said
basis
that. What
of
I
your
said was
argument.
it was bad sportsmanship on both parts. Only thing is, whoever really cares at
But
any other
because it's
time.
racist. Because it's racism.
No, that because the woman involved in this instance of bad sportsmanship is black, the narrative starts to speak towards racial epitaphs that black people have had to deal with in this entire nation throughout
Right.
our entire existence. That's the connection.
So the
That's the
nation is
difference.
racist towards Angel Reese. That's what you're
So
saying.
the nation, and if
In
you
part,
read the
Exactly.
comments-
That's what you're saying. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what. It doesn't matter what book words you
the
try to
racist
use.
peop-
You're saying
the
they're being
racist
racist.
people of this
In
nation
part.
absolutely carried it out that way. Absolutely.
Mm.
If they didn't call her classless, fucking idiots, all this other dumb shit, and left it where you're saying that it was just bad sportsmanship, she got to do better. A lot of people might not care. A
Well,
lot of
fuck
people.
you know-
well,
you know what-
somebody
you know
somebody
that's the
saying
problem
fucking
with-
idiot is a problem. But
Right.
somebody saying
But no one
classless,
said
no,
that.
that's a perception.
But
Somebody
no one
people
said that about Caitlin Clark. That's the problem.
because you're missing the point. You're missing the sportsmanship point. That's what people were saying.
But
People were saying
here's the difference.
it was a
Steve.
sportsmanship issue.
Here's the thing with this, right? And this is something that I notice a lot in sports media, especially, right? Is that there's two different types in sports media. You got the people who are like the quote unquote journalists, analysts, the Brian Windhorst types, right? And then you have the people who are like, Jalen Rose and I can't think of his name, big country dude from the Celtics.
Perkins.
Perk.
Mhm.
You know, people like them, when they're on, all of them are like, yeah, I mean, nothing to see here. This kind of shit happens. This is sports. You know what I mean? It's the journalists who come out and say, oh my God, this is, because it's almost like they feel like they have to protect the Bob Costa types. Like they have
Colin
to protect
Cowherd,
sport.
Dan Lebatard.
You know what I
See,
mean?
but those same ones, the Jalen Roses, the Perkins, what's your boy from the Steelers, EJ, that we both love?
Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark. Like they're the ones that are like it's sportsmanship, but then in the very next breath, oh, stop attacking a black woman. Like, relax. It don't always. It doesn't. It's all I'm saying is it doesn't always have to come down to yo. You see the color of her skin or his skin.
All I'm
Like, it
saying is
doesn't. It doesn't.
in a nation where we know race means everything, we can't have it both ways and say, this happened because of a black person in other instances, and then because it's sports, the thing that
Right.
that should be all well and holy, right? We acting like it doesn't exist, and that's the
Right.
problem. And again, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, there's nothing to see here on both sides. They both had bad sportsmanship. Angel Reese had it one game, and Caitlin's been doing it the entire tournament. The difference is the narrative that the racist arm of this country painted was that
Mhm.
one was worse than the other. And the only difference that we can see at this point, because again, I get your stance on it in the smoke part, and you have that. That's fine. But there's no real difference in what happened here.
There's a
And the
huge
only-
difference.
The only,
Well,
the
Well,
only
we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. If
Yeah.
you can't see the difference of somebody walking up in your
That's what I'm
face
saying. You
after
didn't- but
after a
that's what
game
I'm
or
saying.
after a club,
you're not,
then
you're not
then
you're not
there's a
paying
problem.
attention. That what I'm saying to you is I get that point. What you're missing is Caitlin did it too. She did it twice. And just because
After
you
the
didn't
game,
see it,
after the game, she made a beeline.
yes,
Show
yes.
it. Just show it to me then.
I already sent it to you several
If
times.
it's that simple, show it to me.
I've already sent
Because
it to you several
all I've
times.
seen from you,
Forget it, Steve.
is a
Forget it.
video
Forget it.
is a
Forget it.
video
I've
of
already
somebody
sent
walking
it.
past Caitlyn, and
No.
and as they're walking by, she says,
No.
"That's different.
No.
That's
No.
different from
All right, bro.
me coming up
Nah,
to
bro.
you."
It's not,
And you
bro.
act like you don't know the difference.
No,
That's
if
the
you're
problem.
if
You
you're
act
5
like you don't
feet-
know the
if you're
difference.
5 feet away from me and you beeline all the way over there and you 5 feet away from me, you talking like she came right up nose to nose on her. She did not.
You
So
didn't watch
stop
the
it.
video. You didn't
She
watch the
didn't
video.
come up nose to nose on her.
You
She
didn't
did
watch the
not.
video. Okay. Y'all can talk about Biden. You can talk about the Bidens, and I'll find the video and I'll prove my point because I keep receipts.
You've already tried
Like-
to do that several times, and we
Go ahead.
all don't agree with you.
I'll
Like,
play the
it's just
video
what
for
it
you.
is, buddy.
You don't have to agree. I could show you the video.
We're not.
You could disagree with facts. You could disagree with what you see,
We've been
and then
here
you
with
could
this
then
before.
then you can make your eyes feel like they're wrong.
How
and that's
you look at
fine.
the video? How about you look at the video when she's on the handshake line and talking shit? How about you find that one?
So then,
Nevertheless,
Angel Reese decides she's going to be selfish and forget about her teammates, and she's going
we don't know
to
that.
she's going to read into the Twitter debate and immediately say, "Oh, Joe Biden invited the other team. I'm not going. We ain't going." That's just a poor leader, man.
How do you not know that team didn't come together at that moment in the heat of battle and the heat of emotion? Say that's how they felt and that's what they wanted to do. How do you know?
Because they're going. Because they're still going.
Yeah, after that, they all decided that they're going, and that Biden called the LSU team to talk to them personally. How do you not know that at that time they didn't decide as a team we don't want to go?
You just be saying stuff like you just be like, "Yo, Joe Biden called the whole team and talked to him." No, Joe Biden called Angel Reese. That's the story. The story is Joe Biden called Angel Reese and congratulated her. Not Joe Biden picked up the phone and called the whole team. Like you can't just take facts and make them fiction. Like you can't do this Trump stuff.
But
you can't continue to do the Trump stuff.
Again, how do you know that they as a team didn't decide that they didn't want to go?
Because they're still going.
No, I'm saying, is he VPM? Is he not understanding what I'm saying? When Angel Reese came on and said, "We don't want to go," how do you not know that the team wasn't speaking through her as the leader to say this is what we want to do?
Let me ask you a question. Okay,
how do you know that
they were? How do you know that they were?
I asked you.
So we could do what ifs both way. We could do what ifs both. It doesn't first or last. Doesn't matter.
No, because
it's what if. It's a what if. It's a what if.
Okay, you gonna let me speak? You're the one that says she's selfish because she made the decision.
Doesn't matter.
So you're speaking as if you know she's the only one that made the decision. So
I said she made a bad. I said she made a bad decision by tweeting it. She's the one that tweeted it.
Never mind, dog. Never mind.
Who tweeted it?
Next topic, please. Next topic.
Who tweeted it?
Out of control. You're out of control. You're in your Republican bag now.
Who tweeted it?
Steve, I hear what you're saying, man. I just I feel like you're doing.
Don't ease up on him, VP. Give it to him, real man.
I feel like you're doing this thing where you're taking the shit like hyper literal, and because somebody didn't say I'm giving
I'm
Angel
taking
Reese.
it literal.
No,
I'm taking it literal.
I say you're taking it hyper literal, like because somebody didn't say I'm giving Angel Reese smoke because she's black, because they didn't lay those intentions right out there on the floor. You're making it seem like you're unable to read between the lines, right? It's the same thing if you look in the political spheres, for example, when people say stuff about critical race theory, right? Oh, we're not trying to ban the teaching of Black history, and then all of a sudden, all of the Black history books start flying off the shelves. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like we have to be able to read between. Like, things aren't always going to be spelled out for us to say, man, what's the reason why it's hard to vote in Georgia? And then they made it illegal to give people water if they're standing in long ass lines waiting to vote and it's hot as fuck outside. Could it be race? Well, I mean, in the legislation, the Georgia legislature passed, it doesn't say we want to stop Black people from voting, but it seems like that's the result of the bill. And so we call it racist. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you have to infer shit.
And just on Angel Reese and the team wanting to go, she says, per quote via ESPN, I know my team probably wants to go for sure. And my coaches are supportive of that. So I'm going to do what's best for the team. If they would like to go, we decide we're going to go, then we're going to go. Biden spoke to her and their coach, Kim Mulkey. And as a team, they've decided they wanted to go.
So what you're saying is she made a decision off of impulse, and then she doubled back and said, I know my team will probably want to go. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. That's how I read it.
What the article is actually saying is that when she tweeted that and when she said she didn't want to go, she said, my team and I don't want to go. My team and I. That's what this article read.
Finish the rest of the statement, EJ. I think reading comprehension is a challenge for you.
No, I just read what the article said. That's all I did.
Okay.
You made
what
up
was
a whole narrative.
What was the last piece? What was the last piece?
I just read it, bro. What are you listening? What are you not listening to? What are you not listening to?
Just tell me the last piece. I'm going to teach you reading comprehension.
I know my team probably wants to go for sure.
Bingo. Stop right there. Bingo.
My coaches are supportive of that. So I'm going to do what's best for the team. And if they would like to go, we decide we're going to go, then we're going to go. What are we talking about?
What does that sound like to you, Vari?
That as a team, they're going. Like, what are you talking about?
Team, they're going to go.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
So we're going to act like her saying that isn't a direct response of people saying that she shouldn't have made that decision on her own.
In the beginning, we were hurt, Reese said. It was emotional for us because we know how hard we worked. Nothing about this says just me. Nothing.
Go ahead, keep going.
The thing I don't understand with this whole White House thing, and we talked about this online, is I don't understand. Like, I get the initial outrage, but like the shit went on too far for me, right? Because like, just let me kind of back up and paint the picture, right? Jill Biden, the first lady, is at the fucking national championship, right? Now, I didn't know the thing about her wanting to go to the locker room before, but that kind of tracks just from what I've seen in political shit. Like when the Obamas went to the Olympics, they went in the locker room and shit before and after the game, that kind of thing. So if her wanting to go before the game, that kind of tracks with shit you've seen in the past from political people showing up at sporting events, right? Nothing to see here. Okay, the team didn't want to see her. Like I said, I didn't know that until after everything blew up, but still, nothing to see here, right? Jill Biden is asked after the game, what does she think about the whole, taunting versus unsportsmanlike, whatever. And she says something along the lines of, they both just played so well, meaning both teams. And I think I'm going to talk to Joe and tell him to invite both of them to the White House, right? Angel Reese and LSU, the people are like, yo, what the fuck? Like, which rightfully so, right? The next day, the White House comes out and walks that shit back and says, nah, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody continues on this whole, the Bidens, the White House, boo, 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 all this kind of shit. And it's like, yo, sometimes people in the political arena speak out of turn, right? The same way when Joe Biden came out and endorsed gay marriage when he was vice president, before Barack Obama was ready to do that shit. And the White House had to come back and say, whoa, hold the fuck up. Joe don't speak for the administration. It's the same shit that happened with Jill. She came out and said, we're going to have them both at the White House. And then the White House came out and said, whoa, hold, slow your roll, dog. Like, there's one voice that speaks from this house. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how this thing became such a big thing. Like, I get the initial, but after the shit got walked back, I don't even understand why it was still a conversation.
So
people can't see the undertones and the differences, Barry, and that's the problem.
No, I get the undertone. I get what you're saying. Oh, these white people feel like they were abused, so now somebody has to, stroke their egos and make them feel good for being runners up and all this kind of shit. I get all that, right? But they both didn't get invited. This was a one-day story based on the timeline of events.
No, I get.
It was a one-day thing.
I'm saying why it's still a topic.
I don't mean like a topic for us. I'm saying like people in general.
Yeah, it's still a topic for people in general because, like Steve was saying, the element of race is entered in. That's what people hang on to.
Because everyone's looking at just the same as what I was saying earlier. People are looking at Jill Biden and seeing that she's a white woman, regardless of everything that she may have or may not have done for Black people, or whether she has advocated or not advocated for Black people, because they're doing no research and only looking at Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and saying, well, she's white and she wants the whites there, so she's got to be racist, and we should make a stance as a people so that they know that they can't treat us like this. But that's the key to me, is that when it's political and it's someone that you support, you can see that and you can be objective. But when it's not something you support, it's racism. She's a Black girl. And that's my point, VP.
So
that's my point.
I hear what you're saying, right? But
I know you hear me.
I would also say that for the Jill Biden thing, specifically, right, is that what I always say, people are a
collection of their experiences.
They're of their lived experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jill Biden's a teacher, right? And so she's still a teacher, even as first lady. She's the first lady to have a job. So, and so I could imagine this is like her mindset of participation trophies and we gotta kumbaya, everybody gotta love, maybe that was the spirit of her saying we should just have them both over there because they both did such a good job. What I'm saying?
She didn't do that last year though.
Timing was bad.
Well, she wasn't at the game last year.
Well,
but she still wasn't.
So for me,
involved last year,
I think she fucked up. She
I think she fucked up too.
But
we're in agreement. She fucked up.
But I don't think it's a race thing. And see, that's where I can be subjective consistently.
Right.
And I can't, I'm not going to be subjective.
You can be objective.
Objective, you mean?
Objective. I'm sorry. Objective.
You okay. We saved you. It's okay.
Consistently.
Because you said what you really wanted to say.
Here, right. Hold on. Since we're here, save me from this and tell me how far she was from it.
That's personal space.
Oh, that's personal space? That's personal space? Oh, okay.
I don't have a problem with it. But anyway,
but that's the thing. That's the thing, Vari. It's okay for you to say you don't have a problem with it. It's okay to say that. It's not okay. It's not okay to try to paint the narrative to say she was far away. She was across the court.
Steve said she was nose to nose. Didn't Steve say she was nose to nose?
Was that personal space,
VP?
Yeah, personal space is not nose to nose though.
VP, did Steve say yes or no? She was nose to nose.
I didn't say nose to nose.
I said use
that terminology.
I said she was nose to nose. I said she wasn't nose to nose, and he said,
"Why are you screaming, dog? Like, why are you doing that?
I'm not.
Like seriously. Come on, man.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
You're screaming in the mic. Like seriously.
I can't
just
hear
irresponsible.
You because when you're yelling, I can't hear you.
That's fine. That means if you can't hear because someone else is talking, it's okay to let them finish.
No, that's not letting me finish. That's the problem.
Here,
that's the literal problem.
From you. I'm trying to get away from you. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
This like you're
I'm
ridiculous.
just proving a point.
You-
All I'm saying
you-
is all I'm saying is you can't come on a platform and try to make it seem like I'm making something bigger than what it really is when I'm
So-
making my point. I'm not making anyone else's point. I'm
Right.
not making Oberman's point. I'm not making your racist white people's point. This is my point. My point is you're within arm's reach and you weren't. You came
Okay.
within arm's reach, not to shake
So-
my hand. So now I see that as disrespect. And you may not. You guys may not see that. But to me, it's disrespect.
I got you, Steve. But the point is, again, me and EJ have said the shit was a little out of pocket, but in the context of sports, shit happens all the time. But the reaction had racial undertones to it. That's the
Whose
point we're
reaction?
making.
Whose
The
reaction?
reaction of the media is what we're saying.
I don't care about
and,
their
and,
reaction.
and we're able to.
I'm not
we're
arguing
able to
their
be-
reaction.
Again, dog, you
able to
can't
be
hear our
objective.
point. Right? You can't hear
Right.
our point and say
We're
you don't
we're
care when
able-
we're hearing your point. You're not
We're
hearing
able
ours.
to be objective, right? And me only. I know EJ is not on the same level on this point, right? I'm
On
able
any
to be
point.
objective and say Jill Biden fucked up, but I don't think it was a race thing, right? I don't know if EJ is there, right? But on the media reaction, right, there was, to me, a racial component to that.
So see that's the problem, VP. That's the problem. When it's something that you agree with or disagree with, it's the reality of it and the similarities go out the window. And there's similarities to it. Like I feel like if you're on one side of the fence and you're saying, yo, Angel Reese was treated a certain way because it had racial undertones, right? It's hard for me. I'm 100% hard for me to think someone can turn around and say there wasn't racial undertones to the Jill Biden offer to Iowa with a school of white girls to come to the White House when we've never seen it before. I'm not saying that's how I feel. I'm not saying that's how I feel, but I'm saying that they're two consistent situations and there's inconsistencies in your argument. Like for me, I'm on the same side of the fence with both of them. I feel like it wasn't a racial thing. I get where y'all are saying. I think there were definitely people that made it racial on both sides of it, and there were people that reacted racially towards Angel Reese's actions, no question.
So,
but
Steve, let me throw this example.
I have to agree with Steve on that.
So-
and two things could be true. I understand, but you have to see the connection in both ways, and I agree Steve's point.
I hear what you're saying, right? And I think part of the reason that I don't see it that way is just because of I see a lot of things
political association. Just say
Right.
it.
No, and I don't mean it that way. I don't mean it because
Okay.
they're Democrats or whatever. What I mean is,
I
is
got
that,
you.
right? The first lady, anybody in the first family, or not anybody, but the president, the first lady, the VP, and the VP spouse, right? They all have a team of people around them. It's not like they move by themselves, right? They got people who handle communications for them, people who are monitoring all this kind of shit. So what I could imagine is the game gets done, and whoever Jill Biden's communications person is, who's traveling with her, is seeing all over social media. People are going crazy about this Angel Reese shit, right? So maybe she whispered, people are going crazy about the, boo boo. They're saying it was unsportsmanlike, whatever. And then a media person who's traveling with Jill Biden says, hey, Madam First Lady, what do you think, blah, blah, blah. She's like, they both played so well. Maybe we should just invite them both. Thinking, let's do this kumbaya shit to kind of settle the noise, right? Again, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying I can see.
This is a stretch because in the same
Why
vein,
is that a stretch?
I'm gonna tell you because in the same vein.
So what? The scenario I just painted, you're saying is unbelievable.
I'm saying that could have happened, right? But for it to get then to the public when there are trained people that are supposed to know better to say, well, First Lady, this isn't actually what has happened over centuries, and I don't think it's a good idea that you should make this comment or anyone about it right now. Just let it, just let it be, and let it be what it's been the last 100 so plus years. I don't think that's really the right thing to do.
Right.
We're gonna give Jill Biden the benefit of the doubt, but never gave Trump the benefit of the doubt.
I think
he was acting off rage and impulse.
No, but I think the point that you're that you're missing or that you're overlooking from what I said is that, right? This is not Jill having a conversation with a staffer saying maybe we should invite them both, and then they say to EJ's point, "Hey, Madam First Lady, I don't think boo boo boo." Right? This is somebody in a traveling press who says, "Hey, Madam First Lady, what do you think about this situation?"
In your story.
And then she says to the
Make
media
sure you
person,
say that.
Hmm?
Make sure you say that's in your story.
No, I'm saying this
what
the
probably
media person
happened.
who was traveling with their
Maybe possibly.
Hmm?
This is possibly what happened, right? This is what you're
But
saying.
No, I'm telling you, this is what happened.
Is this traveling
They
media
have traveling
person?
press that travels with the president, the first lady, the vice president, and the vice
But
president.
aren't they still an arm of the White House? Like, isn't there some kind of vetting that still goes with that? Or are you saying that anything? I get where you're coming from, but is it that, let's just say Biden wakes up and says, "God damn, that bitch got a fat ass." The traveling media person, the traveling media person just automatically tweets, "Joe Biden loves that fat ass." Is there not some?
Joe Biden was surprised by how big Kamala's rumpus was this morning.
No, so what happens is the press is most of the times at an arm's length, right? So what likely happened is when Jill Biden's exiting, like leaving the arena or whatever, right? Because I haven't seen the comments on video. I just seen them quoted. She probably
thinking she said something,
people, and then somebody. I'm saying she probably passed press people, and somebody yells out, "Madam First Lady, what do you think about the Caitlin Reese? I say Caitlin Reese, the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark situation," and then she stops and says, "They both played such a wonderful game. I think I'm gonna ask Joe to invite them both to the White House," and then she leaves.
Yeah,
that becomes the story. Everybody reacts to it, and then the White House comes out and says, "No, that's not happening."
Wait, so the White House came out. The White House. Okay, so in this instance, the White House took too long in saying what.
It was the next day.
Well, I think the White House came out and said it's not happening as far as the invite. Right. The White House didn't come out and say that she didn't say that. Like,
or she doesn't feel that way.
Said it.
Or she doesn't feel that way. So I feel like
that way.
Yeah. So to me, I just think it was bad timing. I don't think it was a race thing.
White House should have came out and said, First Lady Jill Biden actually was just, she's a little confused on how things go here, and
EJ, this is why I say we're going too much. So you think that the communications people who work in the White House, who work for the president, are gonna come out and shit on his wife and say, "Yo, I don't know what the fuck this bitch is talking about." They came out and they massaged it, but they essentially walked it back, saying
the right thing for her to have said, the right way for her to have positioned that would have been, everyone's welcome. That's it. Not, they both played great, let's maybe have them both there. No. You know what? LSU will be there, but at any time, anyone's welcome. That might have been the easier way.
Right. But Steve, do you speak off the cuff perfectly all the time?
99% of the time. I'm pretty good.
I disagree.
The only time I make mistakes is like if it's a close word, like subjective and objective. Like that's the only time I make those mistakes.
I disagree with your stance on how they walked it back and how different that was. For them to be like, "No, this is not happening," that's virtually saying, "No, that bitch is dumb. This is not happening. Nothing to see."
They didn't say it the way I said it. I'm being.
And Joe should have said that.
They walked it back by basically saying, a press person released a statement saying something along the lines of
throw them niggas under the bus,
because that's who released the statement. It's not like Joe Biden came out and said it. It was a press person. So a press person came out and said, while the first lady thinks that both teams play admirably and they both show dedication to their sports and to women's sports and we're gonna keep in line with traditions of the past and invite LSU to the White House.
Okay,
that headline should have read.
That's basically a walk back.
Yeah, it was, but the headline should have read: Joe Biden went to Jill and said, "Hail to the gnaw. We not inviting no losers." That's what the headline should have said, and then black people
right. And essentially, but that's the point. I'm saying, like, this is the first lady. Like, it's not like communications people are gonna come out and say, "Yo, like this bitch don't speak for the president." Like, no, like they're not. Come on, dog. Like these are politicians.
Behind closed doors, it looked like Joe walked in and smacked her and told her, "Keep your mouth shut." Then we would have got some Republican votes.
They came out and both sides did great, but we're only inviting the winners. That's basically what they said.
Anyhow, so through all of that, we learned that they're going to still go LSU, right, to the White House, which makes sense. They absolutely should. There's definitely, some opportunity there. I think, if nothing else, you can say, "Hey, I went there and I said this, and I was hoping to be heard, and something did or didn't take place on some of the stuff that I said." Right. I mean, I would use that opportunity, but it is what it is. Fuck them. Let's get to some sports that matter. And let's talk about the NBA playoffs and where they are right now. I think the playing starts today, no?
Tuesday.
Why the fuck did I have today in my mind?
There's
Okay, so
still
Tuesday.
games on today.
Okay. Tuesday is the play-in. I think right now I'm pulling up the data. Let me pull it
Atlanta's
up.
playing Miami for
playing?
spot.
Yeah,
Yep.
for the 7th spot.
And the Bulls are playing the
Miami?
Raptors.
Miami fell that far?
Yeah, we needed to win. We had to win out, and then I think we needed.
Kept
I want to
losing
say it
versus the
was
Knicks.
Philly. We needed to win out, and then we needed another team to like lose a game or two.
It kept
What's
losing
the-
against the Knicks.
If you have it in front of you, what's the Eastern Conference seeding?
I got it. The Bucks are number 1. Celtics are number 2 at the moment. No, they're number 2, period. 76ers are 3, Cavs are 4, Knicks are 5, Nets are 6, Heat are 7, Hawks are 8,
Atlanta's 8,
Raptors 9, Bulls 10.
Damn. So the Nets made some moves then. Them moves that they made getting rid of them stars put them in a pretty good position.
I think they were up, so they were able to battle back. And the Heat just kept losing. And the Hawks, I don't know what happened with them.
Bulls been struggling all season. Hawks been struggling with injuries.
Trash. And I mean, honestly, we look at the bottom, the Wizards have been trash. Pacers have been trash. The Magic are young, and the Pistons are the youngest, and the Hornets are bad. So I mean,
where's the Raptors? The Raptors are part of the play-in as well.
The Raptors,
the Raptors are going for the 8th spot. Raptors and Bulls battling for the 8th seed.
Yep.
Okay, so looking at that seeding, the seeding that we have there listed, who's your favorite from the Eastern Conference today?
From the play-in or just like overall?
In general. Just in general, if you had to make, I'm trying to keep it as short as possible because we ran long.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I still like the Bucks, man. The Bucks have the best player in the NBA on their team, so they to me they're the guys until they're not.
Jokic went to the Bucks.
I can't disagree, man. The Bucks have owned the East. I mean, they've owned the East. Like these dudes just don't lose. They just don't lose when it counts. Like,
you know why? I agree with you guys. Giannis plays buzzer to buzzer. Like he has that Kobe in him. This dude, even like I've seen the Bucks be up like 30 points in the 4th quarter, and this dude is still in the game, like driving the hole, going hard. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a different kind of guy. He comes from just a culture. Like I guess when you come from the dirt, and we've seen a lot of other people that have, but he's like a real testament to it, of coming from the dirt, not motherfuckers that grew up in, like just a kid from Akron type situations or anything like that. Like I'm talking about dudes that came from the dirt, or even dudes that grew up in New York, like Jordan, like we talking dirt. Yeah,
I think that does make a difference. I think that does make a difference in Giannis's game because, like, over here at least, you got some talent. Next thing you get noticed by somebody, you're an AAU, and you got to, always think about when I saw Giannis, they did the profile on him on 60 Minutes, and he talked about how him and his brother had to share the shoes. So when he would come out the game, they would switch shoes. The brother would go in because they only had one pair of damn basketball tennis shoes or whatever. You know what I mean? So. So having that kind of mentality, it probably makes him think like, started from the bottom, now we here, so I gotta go hard all the time in order to keep getting it,
And that team is well rounded. When you look at the Celtics, you take away Jaylen Brown, you take away Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, which both guys have a propensity to disappear when shit matters. They're done.
Especially
you look at the 76ers, you take out the referees and Embiid ain't at the line 20 times before the first half, they're done. Cavs, Donovan Mitchell, he'll score 48, but everybody else ain't doing nothing. The Knicks, you don't know what you're gonna get from them other than Jalen Brunson. The Nets are scrappy. They could be somebody that could beat you down the line. The Heat, I mean, even with Jimmy Butler, like I was clowning you that one time. He scored 12 points in a loss. It just seems like something ain't right with them right now.
Bam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like something ain't
Bam
right.
don't play like a superstar, man. He disappears.
And
Like he
Hero
disappears.
and
Yeah.
all them other guys. And then
I
the
think-
Hawks, disarray, Raptors don't really have nothing. And the Bulls injured all over the place.
You got teams like the Hawks that are, they follow in the LeBron blueprint of throwing stars together. They went out and got Jazante. You already had a point guard. Like, what do you need the same position for?
Yeah.
You don't have to stack your team with just stars and then you lose everything else. You don't have any other depth. So I think that's what happened with the Hawks. The Heat, like Jimmy Butler is a really, really good player, and this dude puts everything out there. But he gets gassed, and you can only do but so much when you don't have a coach. Like, the Heat are I'm just kidding. That was timely though. I needed that. But yeah, I think Jimmy Butler does what he can. Bam doesn't show up all the time. Tyler Hero is great at times. You guys gave a ton of money to Duncan Robinson, who we haven't seen do shit all season. You're kidnapped by Lowry's contract, so it makes things difficult. Like, you got a lot of work ahead of you. If you were doing anything this season, the Knicks are an interesting team for me. Do you guys think Jalen Brunson is the most improved player this season?
I won't say the most improved because, I would say the end of last season, in the playoffs,
he
looked great. I just think people really can see now his level of talent now that Luka's not there, because you can say he was only successful because Luka was there. But now, he's taken this ragtag team and helped everybody play to their skill set with a lame duck coach. And so you really get to see how good this guy is. Like, he was Mr. Illinois for a reason. And then you look at
and the
Dallas.
Crazy part is he don't look athletic at all. He looked like somebody's dad out there.
He looked like the dude that plays at Planet Fitness, or LA Fitness. Then you look at Dallas though. You see Luka and Kyrie. Oh, this has gotta. I mean, and to your point, throwing stars together with the same styles, that someone could have said that wasn't going to work. But I mean, for them to just hit rock bottom, okay, that make you really want to think maybe Jalen Brunson really was that guy, and maybe the jury's still out. We know Luka's cold, but can you do what you do?
Definitely cold.
He's cold, but can you do what you do on a team and effectively win? That's always going to be the difference in the NBA. You could be Melo in Denver all day long, but if you ain't got what you need and you can't play it effectively, are you really going to get to that next level? And I think that's really one of the biggest testaments to LeBron and Jordan is that, and I would say nodding more to LeBron in certain instances because he adapted to what his team needed versus Jordan just saying, I'm going to win this bitch myself, which is also a knock.
Which one of his teams? Because I mean,
yeah, but I mean, he's
clip the last 30 seconds up.
He's good. He's good to have said. He's good to have. He's good to have been able to work with people, and get the best out of them. Where Luka,
he's a hoe.
Luka, I don't know,
escort.
man.
LeBron is the escort of the NBA. Like, you put this dude, and I mean in a good way. You could put him on any team, and he can make the team better.
Saying someone's escort is kind of not a good thing at all. So I just don't. I don't think that's a great choice of words. I'm just saying.
Stop getting around like one.
He's being subjective, EJ.
He wants to show everyone a good time. He want to go, hey, I'm gonna show you a great time. That's what he does.
Wow.
There's cats out there that's gonna be like, listen, we're gonna win or I'm gonna punch you in your face. That's Jordan. All right, so Western Conference, VP, if you have it up, who's
I got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Nuggets 1, Grizzlies 2, Kings 3, Suns 4, Clippers 5, Warriors 6, Lakers 7, Pelicans 8, Timberwolves 9, Thunder 10.
Who's 2? Memphis?
Yes.
Ooh, they might be out the box, yo. they're gonna see the Lakers, right?
2 versus 7. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they might be in trouble. If I'm Memphis, I'd be concerned that I have to see LeBron, AD, and a team that's clicking on all cylinders. Like, to your point.
But looking at the standings, I don't think the West is settled
Oh, okay.
because for the
It's
7 and
not.
8 spot, they don't have it saying clinch playoffs. So five through 8 can still change based on what's left.
4 is the only one that's clinched. The Suns.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
1 through 4 is set, but 5 through 8, 1 through 4 is set, and 9 and 10 is set, but 5 through 8 can still change. So
And
the
that's
Lakers
all gonna
could
change
fuck around
today.
and not have to go to the playoff. That's gonna happen tonight.
It's all gonna
Oh,
change tonight. Everything's still on the line today.
I think
Five through 8.
any team that got to see LeBron in the playoffs, and if they're healthy, him and AD, they should be concerned. Absolutely, in that Western Conference. I like Sacramento a lot. Them guys just figure ways to get it done. Number one is Denver, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think so. You guys think Jokic or Embiid for MVP, or Giannis? I know Giannis should be in the combo too.
I've went on record painstakingly to say I like Embiid for it. When you say most, I like what he's been able to do. You know, we say Harden has helped, but I don't know that he really has been, especially compared to that Nuggets team where they got that young core of guys like Porter, Murray. They get busy, you know, and when they did go head to head, they only went head to head once because the second game, neither one of them really played. You know, when they went head to head, Embiid must have taken it personally, yo, because he gave you know, your boy that work. I think
Well, he
he's
sat the
good.
first one out. He sat the first one out. He was scared.
Who?
Embiid, the first time they played,
I thought they only played twice this year.
yeah, the first time he sat
The
it out.
first time is when they actually played. The second time I thought was when they sat out.
Oh, second one he sat out, which was the
Yeah.
most recent one, which is
Right.
why people started to question, like, yo, do you think him sitting this game out, Embiid that is, makes a difference in the MVP?
I thought it was whack, but I think just the first showing, I mean, Joker had no answer for Embiid, yo. Like he
Who's
had
your
no answer
MVP?
for him. I would have to say it's Embiid.
Embiid. Who's your MVP VP?
I think Embiid is balled out this year, man. I mean, he does get a lot from the charity stripe, but
Sure,
you know,
Jesus.
So
but,
Crackers.
I think I'm still a Jokic voter right now for a couple of reasons. I'll tell you why. I feel like Embiid does get a lot from Harden. I think Jokic gets some. Let me take that back. Jokic gets a good amount from Murray when Murray's on. Murray's hurt still a lot. Aaron Gordon gets hurt pretty frequently. Those guys they tend to be hurt pretty regularly, as does Harden. So that's kind of a different. But you got Tyrese Maxey, that guy constantly steps up. You got Tobias Harris, who finds ways to get it done. Like I just feel like, you know, also the Sixers get to play the East a lot, and the East looks like shit a lot. You know what I mean? Versus putting Denver in a position where they're playing Sacramento, who's been playing really well. They're playing Memphis, who is a rock star team. They got Golden State in the Western Conference they got to go through. They got the Lakers in the Western Conference they got to go to. And they got Phoenix in the Western Conference they got to go through. And they're sitting atop that with a guy who's about to average another triple-double, and he's not MVP. It's a hard decision for me to go for someone other than Jokic. I can see the argument. I can see it, but I'm still a Jokic guy.
Phoenix really just became Phoenix, like really on the back half. Like they were good, but I mean they weren't Kevin Durant's Phoenix, and let's also remember Kevin Durant's been out. But I think overall totality, I think the East has been tougher to me, at least on paper, this year. When you look at the head-to-head matchups, especially when Brooklyn was still Brooklyn, you know the Mavs have been trash. The only real good team that's consistently been good throughout the year that surprised everybody was the Kings. So I
You know
mean,
what the
I
East is for me? The
mhm.
East is a chick that went and got a breast augmentation or breast implants. They're top heavy. The West went and got the whole mommy package. They got the BBL, they got the implants, they thick on the bottom and the top. And that's the only difference in the
I
conferences.
can't see that though, because look at the teams at the bottom. The Thunder, they young, they've been
Yeah, they're
decent,
trash. They're
right?
trash.
The
Thunder,
Mavericks are
Detroit are a wash to
right,
me.
but the Timberwolves, the Pelicans just got back on their horse a little bit.
Pelicans been injured, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean the Lakers been the Lakers, the Warriors are the Warriors, Clippers are the Clippers. And then when you look at the
Those
East,
are big names
I
compared
know
to
I get it. I mean, but
the Heat.
The Cavs since making that trade are the Cavs, the 76ers, the Nets, the Nets have maintained 6, and this is without KG. The Heat, I mean, I think it's kind of a push. I don't know. I don't know that one conference is glaringly that much better than the other this year. And they
Nah, that
do have
Western
to play
Conference.
one
That
another.
Western Conference is different. That Eastern Conference. Matter of fact, look at the just look at the records. What's the bottom mark on the lowest seed for the West and for the East? That'll tell us a little bit.
Spurs
So
are
for the
21 and 60.
But I mean for the mark for making it into the league into the playoffs.
play-in or just for the 8 seed.
Let's call it the 7 seed right now.
So for the 7 seed, that's the Heat. They're 43 and 38, and then on the West side, 7 seed is the Lakers. They're 42 and 39. So pretty
Okay.
much.
So it's
washed.
pretty close. So it's
That's
pretty
what I'm
close.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Even when you look at the top teams.
Yeah, even if you
So,
take it all the way down to the 10th spot which will be in the play-in. On the East is the Bulls at 39 and 42, and on the West is the Thunder at 39 and 42.
yep.
What's the lines? What's the lines for those guys? What's their averages for the season? Between Embiid and Jokic. I know Jokic is towing the triple double, but I think Embiid is almost 31 points a game this season, if I'm not
It's something
mistaken.
stupid. It's something stupid.
He's balling. You know, he goes and he puts out these 50-point games, but then he'll come out and he's just shooting wild ass threes and he'll get you 18. Like
He'll bomb.
that's what makes it hard for me, pause. Like he, and he's not passing, not like Jokic at least. Jokic is averaging almost double digit assists, if not already there.
So the point average Embiid is getting 33.1
Yeah,
a game, 11
he's up
field goals
there.
made. Luka's behind him with 32. Dame Lillard somehow chucking shit up.
Cause he be scoring
32.2.
80 points a game.
Yeah.
What's Jokic scoring?
Alexander is 4. Jokic ain't even in the top 10.
Yeah.
He's 18 at 24.5 a game. So I mean, again, that either says his
It's a
cast
9-point
is getting
difference.
it, either it's saying his cast is getting it more, because that's the only other difference. It's not that
But
he's not doing it.
But the assist, though, like when you're counting for points in general, I just think like
No, that's my
Embiid
point. He's
Embiid looks
doing
like he's a better
with more
scorer.
people.
He's definitely a better scorer this year. I think it could go either way. I could see both arguments. I could see people that think Embiid should get it. I think Jokic can get it, or should get it, and I just don't. I feel like also people are sleeping. I think with VP, we talked about this. We talk about this all the time. We did the same thing with Mahomes.
Mhm.
Giannis is the Mahomes of the NBA right now. We expect greatness from this guy. We
Victim
expect
of
him
your
to
own
go out.
success.
Yeah, we expect him to go out and put up 34 and 17 and think that's normal. And so because of that, we're like, nah, this guy's not MVP caliber. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfair to him. I think it is unfair to him, and I'd have to shoot him a little bit of bail and say that he absolutely should be in the conversation and probably pretty highly. They're number 1 seed, right? And he sat out some games with injury. Middleton was out most of the year with injury. Like this guy's been carrying that team. So, shout out to Giannis, man. I hope that it's just an even conversation.
I think honestly that Embiid, when you're talking about a popularity standpoint, I think he always kind of pissed people off with the minutes management. and stuff like that. So I think that he still hasn't worked that off, and he also isn't the most pleasant guy, seemingly.
Bad sportsmanship.
Yeah, like he just seemingly just rubs people the wrong way, and we know that. And we know that the media has a heavy influence in that conversation because it just doesn't seem like he's really getting the just credit because he doesn't really have, like, Harden is a shell of himself, or either that he's waiting to the playoffs. I don't see the same support that Jokic has, and you can see it in the points. You can see it.
Yeah, and also, man, looking at the standings, I don't know how EJ. I don't know if you pulled it up. That just shows 1 through 10 or whatever. But when I pulled it up, I had it done by division, and it just made me like so happy when the NBA switched to fucking based off record versus like the division.
Oh, division.
Because because like you look at the division, the Heat, they won their division, and they would be the 3 seed, even though another team has almost 10 wins more than them that are like the Cavs. He got 43 wins. Cavs got 51. Huh?
I don't even understand it.
Yeah, so I wish the NFL would look into doing that, man, because like it's like last year that shit was disgusting with Tampa, being a division winner, getting a home game, and they won like 2 games. So
yeah. So who's your favorites to come out of the West, or your favorite team to come out the West?
I got the Suns, man. Like it.
If
they're healthy, they should come out of the West.
It's theirs to lose.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it's theirs to lose.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Denver's the Peyton Manning of the Western Conference. They're great regular season players, but in off season, or I'm sorry, in the postseason, they just don't get it done. Still look good, but don't get it done. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think Phoenix. I'm still sleeper. Sleeper is the Lakers because LeBron can turn it on. They said that of course, who knows if this is true? This could be what VP calls what did you call it? Branding or whatever. He's got his spokespeople or whatever. But they said that he dropped like 10, 12, 15 pounds or something like that. Because it was a foot injury. So he wouldn't have to get the surgery and he could still be effective. And that's just the type of thing that I think, if it's true, whether it's true or not, if it is, LeBron James he's that guy. Like when it comes to, I'm going to try to do what I got to do to play in the big moments. I might sit out a lot, which he absolutely does, but in those big moments, he's gonna do what he can to get on the court. And I think that makes the Lakers a tough out for me.
I mean, that makes sense. I saw an interview with Ray Allen, like when he was with the Heat, and he was saying like once he started getting later in his career, he started losing weight because it was easier on his knees and stuff like that. So, I mean, it could be something to it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Anything else pressing? I know we didn't get to Benji's, but that'll just give us a double dose of that next week. And
not a lot changed probably anyway from last week.
Yeah, VP watching Amazing Race and other Caucasoid
stuff.
Other Iowa-related shows.
I have one for y'all this week, man. I actually, let me just say it real quick.
Yeah, dude.
Y'all watch this fucking documentary on Netflix called
Student in the fucking documentary.
It's called Don't Fuck with Cats.
Oh, I saw that.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah. But you don't like animals, so it's okay for you.
Yo, that shit was crazy. Yo. Like I was not expecting that shit to go the way that it did.
I never finished it, but I remember it during COVID. It was a big thing.
Yo, that shit is wild. Yo, basically, like some dude posted a video of himself on the internet, like killing some kittens, and then you have like these animal lovers band together on Facebook, and they start like playing detective and shit. Oh, I saw this in the room. I saw that. They start putting the clues together and shit.
Yeah, you don't remember it from COVID?
But here go the shit though, EJ. Once they find out who the dude is, they're like sending this shit to the cops, and the cops ain't listening to him. And then
because it's cats,
right? But then the dude graduates and kills a person. You know what I mean?
But that is the wild part, because one of the tall tale serial killer signs is harm the animals.
They start with the animal cruelty.
Yeah, that's where you start. Yeah, because you got to work yourself up. Like Listen, man, as much of a scumbag as I am and you two are, like we still have consciences, and I don't want to scale up to murder. Like I want to just
Right.
like let's keep it low. Like even if we do something mean or say something mean or bad about somebody, like we still have a conscience if it impacts them.
Right.
So you have to kind of work yourself up to being a true scumbag, or in their case, you scale it to murder.
Yeah.
You know, they start with bugs and burning ants with the magnifying glass. You know what I'm saying? You're like, wait a minute, how come you have a fascination with burning ants? You
Mhm.
know, at least that was back in the 90s. I don't know if these kids do.
Yeah, you know, the scary part is a lot of children in that foster care system, man, have like microwave cats, and like that shit is real,
God
bro.
damn.
Like, yeah,
Well, you shit. Doja Cat. Was it Doja Cat? I think it was
I
Doja
don't,
Cat.
I don't know.
Microwaved her cat.
I
Yeah,
have
and
no idea.
she's a star now. I think it was her.
Shit.
I could be wrong. Might be. I think it was her. Don't quote me on that. We have to check that.
Let's throw an allegedly out there, Steve.
Yeah, allegedly. Well, I know there was someone. I just don't know if it was Doja or who it was. But it was definitely a like a singer. I got to
Yeah,
watch
shit.
the one you were talking about real quick, and then VP. I bet you still haven't gotten to Best Man because you don't like black shows.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get on that.
This guy hates. He hates those.
Bruh,
This guy is. You know what?
the best man. Ugh.
No, don't
Ugh.
say it. Don't say it. I want VP to watch it. I still didn't get to watch Creed. Like, there's still a lot of stuff I gotta watch.
Yeah.
Let's just move Benji's to next week. EJ, how do you feel about OBJ coming into the Jets? I know you said you feel like that means that they could be getting closer to a Rodgers deal.
I'm pretty comfortable with Joe Douglas came out recently and said the deal. He was more definitive than he's ever been. He said he's coming. It's gonna be a done deal. I
Balls.
feel like, yeah, oof. I feel like
Barry hates when we say pause.
Stop
being homophobic.
I think OBJ coming to visit pause on Monday is closer to the deal getting done, because we don't have the cap space without that deal being done, because essentially we can clear 40 million by getting rid of two people, but we're gonna need to replace them, one of those people here, and then the cap implications for Rodgers coming in is gonna be, something that they're working out with, who's gonna take this and who's gonna take that. And then another thing is people saying, well, you paying 60 million for 39-year-old, but there's gonna be some restructure going on that. You know what I mean? So
That's a lot of money, bro.
No,
I hope
You're
we
still
can
gonna
get it
pay
done.
that, even if you restructure. It's just what
about
bucket it's
when.
coming out of.
Yeah, it's about when. But I mean, here's the thing. Here's the logic, right? If you're the New York Jets, and we have been terrible at quarterback
since Joe Namath,
and he wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? So I would say probably our best quarterback that we've had,
Boomer?
best two, was Pennington before the injury, and Vinny Testaverde. And then the year that had Fitzpatrick had, that year was phenomenal.
Okay. I thought you were saying Mark Sanchez.
Nah,
Pennington was nice. That his doctor fucked him over.
Yeah, he and even Sanchez, I mean, had a decent rookie year. He just had Rex Ryan for a coach who didn't know anything about offense. But this guy, you gotta go all in. A team that has the longest playoff drought, you just gotta go all in. You gotta show the franchise money isn't an issue. Woody Johnson is our
And
owner. Why do we care?
You're in a tough division. Like, you have to make a splash to where, if you guys go in with anything less than a stud at quarterback, there's no way you're coming out of that division. There's no way you can be
talk about.
And this is my problem with the Jets, right? It's because I'm one of the people who are saying you're going to spend $60 million on a 40-year-old, et cetera, right? I've said that.
Here we go.
But no, seriously. But the Jets are basically saying we need a quarterback. That's why we're pursuing Rodgers, right? But then they're trying to be cute and don't want to pay to get him. Well, we don't want to give up this kind of draft capital and da. And it's like, yo, by going after Rodgers, you're essentially, like EJ said yesterday, the Bucks did it, Tampa Bay did it. You're essentially saying we're on the cusp. We got to just get this guy in, but you don't want to pay to get him in. But that shit don't make no sense. Why are you nickel and diming it? Just go get him.
Well, I think that's our GM's history, and I think when you just look at the market rate, because Tampa gave up what? What did they give up for Tom?
A lot.
But
No,
first
Tom
rounder.
didn't he
Like,
sign?
Tom
Didn't
was a
he
free
sign?
agent. They didn't give up
Yeah, I
any
was
of
gonna
them.
say he
So
signed in free
that's
agency.
that's what I'm saying. It's like you gotta, and again, it's like you talking about the age. You don't want to give up a first rounder for this dude who just was not sure he was gonna play. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it takes
Especially
a little wiggle room. It
he'd
takes a
be
little
hanging out
wiggle
with Joe
room.
Rogan and them. I
But
would be.
so here's what I'll say. I hear what you're saying, but if you're saying we need this guy, go get him because they're
And
gonna
Yeah.
keep fucking around, and
and
Aaron
if you
Rodgers is gonna
don't,
be playing for the Indianapolis Colts next year.
right, and if you don't, go get Lamar. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I,
Like, if you got any reservations, go get Lamar. You're gonna get longevity. You might, you're gonna pay anyway handsomely. So I get it. Now,
no,
the one thing I
yeah.
will say is, you just hope, if I'm the Jets and I get them being cautious, you gotta hope that Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady in his age and not Drew Brees in his age. You know what I'm saying? And I think that might be partially why they're being a little bit selective about what they give up for him.
Yeah, I would say a large part of that is true, and I'm with you. I hope you're right, and I don't know, man. It just I agree with you to a degree, VP. I just think you gotta negotiate, right? You gotta play the game. Gotta see what you can get. If you can get him for a second and a conditional first, and he actually turns our team around, and we win, something. I'd say it wasn't a bad trade off. And he is the Super Bowl caliber quarterback. So I don't know. A lot of things got to be right, but my main thing is at the end of the day, as the Jets, it ain't gonna hurt you. You ain't been doing nothing no way. So
And really, this shit's gonna come to a head after the draft because the NFL wants this shit done.
I
The
think it
NFL may
happens
step
before
in
the
and be like,
draft.
"Yo, y'all need to get this shit done because we need to put the schedule out."
I think
So
it happens before the draft. I think it absolutely happens before the draft or draft day. Because
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
it'll
Green
be
Bay
like
is gonna
right
want to miss that.
before, because they want the draft capital, right?
Mhm.
There's no way I'm going into the draft without knowing if I have your first round pick, and then I'm still
Mhm.
going to give you Rodgers. Like, I'm not doing that. So I think
Mhm.
if it's not right before, I think we
It's
hear it
during.
in the days leading to, or the day leading up to, like that last hours of, oh, guess what? You get that. We can make a big splash, make a
Some say it could actually happen
headline.
on draft day,
Yeah,
like as an incoming pick. So
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, happy Easter to y'all. I need to go hide some eggs, get this egg hunt going for my kid, pop open some baskets, chill with my peeps. See what I did there? Peeps. Never mind.
horrible candy.
What? All right, peeps or candy corn?
Nothing. Candy corn shouldn't
candy
even
corn is
be.
disgusting.
It
That
shouldn't even
shit shouldn't
be
exist.
edible.
Yo, candy corn is the best candy ever, yo. I wish
Oh
they
my
sold that shit
Oh my
year
god.
round. All right, it's not the best. All right,
Yo,
so
if you give somebody candy corn, you should legit be charged with a war crime, like like
nah,
crimes against
yo,
humanity. That shit is disgusting. yo.
Candy
That
corn
shit
is
is
amazing.
fossil fuel.
Reese's eggs or Cadbury eggs?
Reese's
Reese's.
Okay.
all day, every day.
All right. Y'all got one side right, but don't be talking about candy corn like that, yo.
Yeah, that
Peeps are
shit is-
delicious too.
Check
Candy corn
Peeps
is
are
not
crazy.
fit.
check
Candy
your
corn is not
insides,
fit for
dog.
human consumption, yo.
Check your insides, dog. If you eating candy corn, you're a
Candy
nasty
corn is
man.
great. I'm about to
You're a
order some.
nasty
I know I
man.
can find some. This shit's good. You know what the
Holy
ones that are
cow.
actually good? The actual pumpkins, the candy corn pumpkins. Oh, those are great. All right.
You're a nasty man.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna hand it to VP because no, nothing, nothing. VP.
Oh, you said that. It didn't sound like you were
this
done.
is
You were
2
like, I'm
weeks.
handing the VP because and then he just went dark. Oh my god, yeah. Hey everybody, happy Easter to all those who celebrate. Hopefully you enjoy the time with your family, your church family, or however it is that you celebrate eggs, whatever it is you do, and enjoy your time celebrating.
And
Like
enjoy
we
your
always say, like we always say, make
Fridays.
that phone call, send that text message, reach out to your people, let them know you're thinking about it. Pretty sure they'll appreciate it. Tomorrow's not promising nobody. As always, you can find this podcast on all podcasting platforms by searching at Castworthy. You can also find us on any of our social media by searching at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, leave us a like, comment, subscribe, share, and follow. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Help us grow the audience. We very much appreciate it. And for those who listen live, we definitely appreciate you guys taking the time out of your Easter Sunday. And for those who listen once the episode posts, we appreciate you taking that time as well. With that being said, we will see you guys on next week's episode of the Castworthy Podcast. We're out. We love you. Peace.